And we're off.
Yeah,
And we're off. How's it going?
it's all right. Yeah.
Good, good. I won't beat around the bush, Jay, because I know we've got a fair amount to talk about. I would like to start with what you've been playing, because it's a new release, and
It
it's
is.
exciting to
Very
hear what you think of
exciting.
it anyway. Just a disclaimer for everyone. I hope you don't mind me saying, Jay. Jay
Okay.
is very excited and passionate about the games he's playing at the moment, okay?
Well,
So
to a degree.
take that with a pinch of salt. I would advise everyone to take that with a pinch of salt, okay? I'm not trying to dull it down, Jay, but I am trying to dull it down. So,
Do you say dull it down?
dull it down,
Oh,
dull it down,
dull. Okay.
dull it down, dull it down. So, I like Jumper.
Do you know what this is?
No. Oh, yeah, Pokemon.
Yes, but do you know what it's referencing?
No.
No, so it's Rowlet, which is the grass starter for Gen 7, I think. Sun and Moon. Um, it's a black hoodie, and it's a gold outline of an owl Pokemon. And the reason why that's relevant is because Drake has an owl as his logo. That's like his thing. And it is a gold outline with a black background owl. And so this is like the rendition Pokemon version of that.
Drake the Rapper.
Drake the Rapper.
I haven't seen this out before.
Yeah, it's like his logo. He's got a company called
I see it.
Rolo or
I see it.
something.
Yeah.
So I
I
think
get
it's
you.
to do with that. Yeah.
Bro, don't you sometimes look at these rappers, right, and how ripped they are, and like,
How
do you
ripped they are. What do you
well,
mean?
like how they're like quite fit? Do you reckon they're working out, or do you reckon it's steroids?
They're
Like,
working out. You don't get steroids to look like that.
yeah,
You do
that's true.
steroids to be like massive. You don't do steroids to look lean and nice. You know,
Yeah,
there is a difference there.
yeah, I get that. All right, I get it. So, Jay, you've been playing a new game. Came out what last Friday? Friday just gone, like
Came
three
out on
days ago.
Friday. Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
I'm
And
glad we actually waited to do the podcast to today because last night I finished the main campaign of it.
holy moly!
Yeah.
And that game is Jay
Dead Island 2.
Dead Island 2.
Yes, it's finally arrived. It's been
9 years?
9, 10 years, yeah, something like that. Actually, I can double check that, but yeah, it is a long time.
So, Jay, I won't cloud your detail of the game with my opinion coming from other people's opinions, frankly.
Yeah, I've
So,
sort of been like looking around 2011, so it's been 12 years.
okay.
Bloody hell,
So,
even longer than
why
I
didn't you
thought.
start, Jay, with do you like the game?
I do. I like it a lot. Um, it's a weird one. I've sort of been like looking around at other people's reviews. I actually watched the Skill Up review a couple hours ago on my way home from work, and that was pretty enlightening because I tend to agree with a lot of what he says. He was sort of like, I mean, most people have given it like a 7, like like somewhere
Sure.
between a 7 and an 8, sort of. I
Yeah.
think most people like it's very average. Like there's a lot right with it. There's some that's a little bit disappointing. Like it's very nuanced. Let's just give it that. Like you kind of have to experience it to know. Like you couldn't be someone from the outside who looks at this and goes, "Oh, from what I've seen someone playing that, it's probably like." You could literally watch the whole playthrough of someone playing this, and you wouldn't understand it unless you actually played it yourself. Like it's one of those ones where you kind of just have to experience it weirdly.
And why is
Um,
that?
because you won't know if you liked playing it for yourself unless you played it, right? Like I guess
Sure.
you could watch someone else and still get like for me, okay, I'll compare it to like Resident Evil, right?
Mm.
Like I'll never buy one of those games to play it, but I'll get the same amount of enjoyment out of watching someone else. I feel like you'd probably get that. You probably wouldn't get that with this, because why wouldn't you?
You'd need
I
to
don't know. I
play it.
feel like I feel like it's not as fun to watch. It'd probably be a lot more boring. Like to be able to watch Resident Evil is fairly. There's enough sort of going on, like that's sort of set up for the game to like have its moments. Whereas this has moments, but not as many.
Sure. It sounds like the gameplay is fun to play, maybe, but maybe not fun to
Yeah, not as
watch.
fun to watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd probably have a lot more fun. I think this game is pretty silly. It doesn't take itself too serious.
Sure.
It almost feels like a sort of like I don't know, like a parody, I guess.
Sure.
Somewhat seriously in some instances, though.
So, Jay, you were a big fan of Dead Island 1 and Riptide, is that correct?
Not so much Riptide. I've watched someone play Riptide. I didn't actually play it myself. I do own it though, so I technically could play it if I wanted to.
Do you have that remastered version? Definitive edition, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
Sure.
I can't even remember.
So, how, is the game good? Is it okay? Is it broken? Is it what's the crack?
Definitely not broken. It is. It plays kind of phenomenally, honestly. Like it's kind
Are you
of
sure? Because I've seen some
annoyingly
other
good.
people say that they have hit bugs and stuff.
Oh yeah, there's buggy parts of it. Yeah, sure, but definitely not like. I remember when people were playing the previews, there were definitely a lot more bugs, but they fixed all that. So I'd say it's not as much buggy as it is. Like you know how Fallout has like some janky bits in it, and Skyrim has some janky bits in it. It's like similar to that, right? Where like an enemy will just all of a sudden like shift or like you know do something stupid, or like the spawning rates are a bit funny. Like when you walk around the map, you could literally see an enemy spawn into existence, like off to the side somewhere, Whereas I imagine if the game was like fully fledged out, it probably wouldn't do that. More than likely.
Sure. Sure.
God, I literally could sit here for like an hour and a half explaining everything about it, but I'll just sort of go through the best bits, I guess. Um, I went into this with like very, very low expectations because I knew if I went into it with too high, that would probably ruin it. I feel like it's sort of mandatory for me to do that nowadays. And I think, yeah, I'm glad I did because, man, it's a lot better than. Like, it's not as good as what the best possible outcome could have been, but it's definitely nowhere near the worst possible outcome. Like, not even close. Like, for most people who I've seen a review of, it's sort of been like pleasantly surprised. Like, glad I played it, glad it exists. Look like very, very pretty. Like, I will say the graphics in this are fucking, like, actually pretty good.
Okay.
Like, definitely, like, I wouldn't necessarily say next gen, but, like, not next gen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Like, better than Xbox One, but maybe not like. I mean, to be honest, they're pretty good. Because I don't know if you watched the IGN video. They did, like, a behind the scenes of how they got to the gore system in the game. Did you see that?
No.
I recommend it. It's actually pretty phenomenal. Even if you don't, even if you aren't a fan, it's kind of like an industry kind of dev kind of nice thing, just to see like how devs figure out stuff through betas and tests and stuff. But yeah, the gore system is sort of like this. Each of the zombies have this skeleton and like organs that move around inside them, and there's like a weird sort of like decaying thing where like if you hit an enemy, it'll like actually do the damage on that area, and you'll be able to like shift flesh out of the way and stuff. Are you all right there?
Yeah. Sorry, it keeps cutting out a little bit. I'm not sure why. So bits of flesh decay and stuff.
Yeah, like there's a lot of systems in place that actually make it feel annoyingly real. Like if I was to hit an enemy in the skull with a hammer, my hammer would take out a chunk of their skull that was hit in the exact spot.
So it's quite right. So it's quite an
Like if you hit
impressive
them across
system.
here, their eyeball will just sort of hang out like this and dangle.
Oh.
It's really cool. There's a element in the game where you can sort of make acid get on the enemies, like an acid build up. And if they get enough of this build up, they'll then all their flesh melts off their body, and all that's left is sort of like bones that are just sort of hanging and tiny bit of flesh hanging on, but they're still moving around. It's
Jesus.
really cool. Like I will say that is probably the best thing about this game is the actual like gore system. It is fucking phenomenal. Like if it wasn't for that, I don't think the game would be nearly as good.
While we're talking
Like
about gore
you need to
systems,
watch that video. It's so good.
fair, fair. While we're talking
So
about
good.
gore systems, Jay, how were you feeling about diving into a zombie game in general? Were you like eager for it, or
Yeah,
were you like
pretty excited. Pretty eager. I haven't played one in a while. I'm trying to think of the last zombie game I played. It was Days Gone. And what was that? A year ago? Maybe I played that. Coming up to a year. I think I
I want
played
to
it
say
maybe
2 years,
September last
bro.
year.
Was that?
It could have been. I don't know. I feel like it was a lot sooner than that. But it could, yeah, it could well have been that long ago. But yeah, I think, yeah, it's been a while. So you know, I was due for a zombie game.
Sure.
Um, the characters phenomenal. Like there's 6 classes or 6 characters to choose from.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah, more than the last one. The last one only had 4. Um, they each character you have has like a special trait or like 2 special traits. So the person who I picked, Danny, she's an Irish sort of like rocker, sort of like almost like a roller derby looking girl. Like she's got this sort of bright green hair, the red bandana, the tattoos, the shorts, like the black shorts, the sort of like denim jacket with the studs on her wrists and everything, like very very like that kind of. But because she's like thick Irish, it's like all her dialogue is amazing. I love how they say idiot. I love it. That's just like that's so satisfying to hear Irish people talk. I don't know what it is about that, but I do love the Irish accent, so that was quite nice. You kind of
Yeah,
have to pick
100%.
someone who you're going to be satisfied with their voice acting or voice actor, because if not, like some of these characters, I can imagine can get very grating very quick if you're not a fan of how they sound.
What are they talking a lot?
Oh yeah, they talk a hell of a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily they talk. They're not. It's not like forspoken talking constantly during out and about. But I'd say it's like a healthy
Sure.
amount because I remember Skill Up was saying in his 5 hour preview, he was like, "Oh, I really hope this dialogue doesn't get annoying." But he was pleasantly surprised as well. He was like, actually he played Danny as well, but like I will say the writing in this, it's actually there was actually some genuine laugh out loud moments. Like I genuinely like it takes a lot for me to laugh out loud, especially with like it's something that isn't just a straight up stand up thing. Like it's weird. Like I find a lot of things funny, but they're sort of like funny in my head. I very rarely express my like laughter. I know, which is a weird thing. I do laugh a lot, but it's not like
Yeah,
that. Like it's not like
it's
not
like
constant
American Dad, isn't
laughing.
it? Like you watch it because you find it internally funny, but it doesn't mean you're laughing out loud at every
Yeah,
joke.
but this I genuinely laughed out loud at some moments. There were some really, really like it's very well written. I will say that I was pleasantly surprised.
Wow. Okay. Fair.
Um, yes, wait. I actually watched this guy's video where he did an in-depth guide, almost like a tier list type video, for each character and like what their pros and cons were. Because each character, when you select them, have like an upside and a downside to them. So one character might have like almost no health, but like loads of damage, and someone else will have not as much damage, but loads and loads of health. Um, and weirdly, even though the stats tell you that 2 characters have the most health in the game, because their resistances are so low, they're actually not the tankiest characters in the game. There's sort of like 2 characters that are like lightweight class, 2 that are midweight class, and 2 that are heavyweight. The heavyweights are supposed to be tanks. The mid ones are supposed to be jack of all trades, and the lightweights are supposed to be like glass cannons. But weirdly, actually, the midweight ones are the ones that are actually the tankiest in the game because their resistances are so high. Their effective health is actually more than what the tanks are. So it's a bit odd in that instance, but I do like that. I like how someone actually figured that out. I do appreciate that level of like, um, you know, of
Detail.
detail and sort of what do you call it?
Insight.
Insight is a good word. Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with insight.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll think of the word in a bit. I'm sure you will.
Um, studying, I guess, is probably the word I was trying to
In
look for. Like
depth, yeah.
the amount of like delving into that stuff. So that actually that informed my opinion on who I was going to pick. Because right up to the day, I have no idea who I'm going to play. Like I still don't know. I have to figure out what the stats are all about. But then I watched this guy's video like on the way home from work, and I was like, oh, I know exactly who I'm playing now. That's perfect. So that really helped. Yeah, I ended up playing Danny. Like I say, she was brilliant. She's actually technically the tankiest one in the game, most resistances, so that helped. It's funny. There's no difficulty in this game, which is good. But I think you can almost set yourself. Um, it's a bit like Pokemon in that depending on the game you're playing and depending on what starter you pick, you're technically playing the game on easy, medium, or hard. So I'd say in this game, if you pick one of the lightweight characters, you're pretty much playing the game on hard because you're going to find it a lot harder to get through the game, especially in the early stages of the game. Whereas if you pick one of the tankier characters, you're going to go through pretty easy in comparison.
But do the lightweight ones deal more damage, for
They
instance,
do,
or
but you're more. You have to be pretty good, especially at the beginning of the game. There's a depending on who you pick, there's a dodge mechanic or a block mechanic, and you can basically parry in this game.
okay?
So unless you're good at dodging, blocking, and parrying, you're probably going to die quite a bit, especially in the early hours. I'd say I didn't really get to the point where I didn't really need to do that as much until like right near the end of the game because my damage didn't really feel that good. But I'll come back to that.
So, what
Um,
you come back to the system, the parrying system?
yeah, the sort of no, I'll come back to the weapons and I guess I could talk about it now. The weapons are pretty decent. Each weapon has like a certain like style that goes like with it, I guess. Like there's some weapons that are meant for like fast attack speed, other ones that are meant for like heavier damage, and then other ones that are meant for like chopping off limbs for zombies and stuff because you get bonuses for that stuff. So that was cool. The modding system, a lot of people had a problem with. They didn't really find it in depth enough, but I not like so there's like a regular modding thing where you can add things where like make an enemy bleed if you hit them enough, make them melt if you hit them enough, electrocute, come on fire, stuff like that. There's like a secondary part of the crafting where you can add a mod where if you have like certain body parts from a zombie that you collect, which are pretty rare, you can then make it so like you gain life depending on how many times you hit and stuff like that, like really really special mods, I guess. But you don't really like get access to any of those mods or body parts until like right at the end of the game anyway. So you're not really going to make much use out of it. Like I felt this game should have been twice as long, and it would have made a lot more sense. Like the game is pretty short, but I've probably put in 21 odd hours, and I'm probably only just over halfway through
But
in
you
terms
finished
of
the
like
main story.
actual. I have finished the main story. Like it's weird how the main story actually feels like it almost feels like there's like an end game to this because there's actually many side quests that don't start until you beat the main story. So the main story is almost a little bit like a Destiny thing where you beat the campaign and then the game unlocks almost, you know. There's like a bunch of weapons you can't like a legendary weapon quests you have to do until like after you beat the story.
What do you think the purpose of that is? Do you think that is to drive player engagement post story, or do you think that's just a cool little? We're doing a single player game. Here's a couple of side quests to make it seem a bit, special,
Yeah, it's
maybe.
weird. It almost feels like it was deliberately designed where the main story was almost like the secondary, which is a bit strange. Like I felt there wasn't really much to the story, um, in terms of like its length, but its content was pretty packed. I'd say like there was a lot going on. There is like a new storyline that they're sort of like leaving on a bit of a cliffhanger, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be DLC for the game, like expansion missions and stuff. So new
What,
areas that should be
like
pretty
free,
good.
or is that season pass, or
No, that's season pass. Yeah, you have to pay
they've got a
for it.
season pass for this game?
I think so. Yeah.
Jeez. Okay.
So I think there's 10 areas you can go to. Each one is relatively large. They're definitely not massive, but they're fairly populated, I guess is the word to say. Like there's a lot to look for in each area. Like
In
I
terms of
spent
like
hours
items
just
or
walking around
zombies,
each.
or
Yeah, just both. In terms of like, I spent probably at least an hour just looking around each area before I even did anything. So there's
What,
definitely
just
lots
taking in
to
like the
look for.
sights, like just getting all the
Well, just
loot,
looking
like
for materials, loot, anything. Yeah, any like secret hidden stuff. Like there's a bunch of keys that you have to find to open up like these safes that give you special weapons and materials and stuff. So,
sure.
which I
Sounds
still
a bit
haven't
like
unlocked all of them yet.
Dead Island 1 with the looting then, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
very
Like,
similar.
yeah,
I will say this game is basically Dead Island 1, but improved in a lot of ways. I do
sure.
think it is better than Dead Island 1. I think overall.
So curiously then, Jay, so the writing's better, but the story's not that impactful
No,
from
I
the
think
like.
the story's pretty amazing. I quite liked it. It's weird because what I might deem, I know that majority of people who play this aren't going to enjoy it as much as I did. That's just a
Okay,
fact.
okay,
They're gonna look at it objectively still and be like, it wasn't that good. But even to me, objectively, it's pretty decent. Like it's almost like this game is optimized very very well, but it's very short and there isn't really that much. I mean, there's a decent amount to do, but there isn't compared to like a lot of games that we're used to nowadays, like 100 hour, you know, massive games. Like compared to that, there isn't as much. And I feel like we're going to see a bit of a trend soon, potentially, although it might be too little too late. But we get some really, really well optimized games that actually come out in decent time, but they're not going to be as big. But we're still going to be paying the same amount for it. You know, that's kind of what this game feels like. It's almost setting up a bit of a trend, potentially. I don't know. It just depends on how long they want to do stuff like that for.
I get your concern there. I guess my rebuttal, as it were, would be, well, maybe we need a few more games that are shorter, but not
Yeah, I
necessarily
feel like
like,
potentially we might see that. I don't know.
yeah. It
Um,
was it not quite. I know you've paid full price for it, yeah, but was it not quite
hmm.
refreshing that it was not a 120-hour RPG?
Yeah, no, it
Or
is very, very refreshing. Yeah, I think like I said, I put about 20 hours in. I'll probably put somewhere between 30 and 40 hours into this game before I'm like done, I'd say. Although
mm.
to be honest, I don't think I'm even going to get that. I'll probably get closer to 30 because obviously Star Wars comes out on Friday and I got to play that. So, and then
Have you
right
pre-ordered
after
that?
that, I got a bloody play Redfall as well. I haven't pre-ordered it yet. I'm still debating on whether I want to get the deluxe edition. I don't really think it's worth the extra 20 quid just for a couple of cosmetic items. I don't think it's worth it.
Agreed.
So I'll
Agreed.
probably just get the regular one.
There's not a
Yeah,
season
I'll get
pass
the
for
regular
Jedi,
one.
is there?
There isn't now because there wasn't DLC for
Mm.
the first game either. So they clearly
Yeah,
don't want to do any for the second one either. It seems, which I think is
but
probably a good idea.
yeah, I mean, they did do the free updates and stuff that they brought to it, so that wasn't too bad.
It kind of feels
Um,
like
no,
um, with Dead Island, it kind of feels like this game. They've only given you 2/3 of the game. That's kind of what it feels like, and it feels like the expansion is basically the last third of the game. Does that make sense?
that's how it feels, genuinely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It feels like they've given us not everything.
And you say that because of like areas or length or
Mm, yeah,
story?
just because of yeah, story mainly. They left it on a bit like this. Potentially, the story of this could be like fucking mind-blowingly good. Like they've introduced a new thing that I don't want to. I don't know, do you want me to talk about it, or do you want me not to talk about it?
It's still a bit. Then again, who plays Dead on 2 for the story? No offense.
I mean, it's kind of amazing now what they've come up with. I really really like the idea. I think it's very
Okay,
smart.
guys, we're gonna do. It's a fresh game, spoiler mode, whatever you want to
Extremely
call it.
spoiler mode, 100%.
Fucking skip ahead. I'll put it in the timestamps, but just skip ahead. Probably. How long are you gonna take, Jay? 3 4 minutes.
Uh, a minute to 3 minutes. It should. I could really do a quick summary. It's really not going to be that
Go
long.
3 to 4 minutes, guys. Go 3 to 4 minutes. Okay,
Um,
go.
so primarily, you get bit. You realize you're immune. You try to go to the CDC to figure out if they could make a vaccine from your blood. Turns out the CDC isn't really anywhere, and that you're actually being used by this doctor who actually is the person who spread the disease in the first place in LA. And the reason why he did that isn't entirely figured out, but it turns out he bred his daughter to become the vaccine. Oh, I know why. Yeah, so this virus is basically like almost like a ticking time bomb inside of humanity. like humanity like has like an extinction event within them that is the zombie plague essentially. It's like everyone is already it's a basically like, almost like an allegory for cancer almost. Where like everyone has it, it's just when's it going to go off, kind of thing, you know?
Wait, so you tell me in this world, everyone
Yeah,
will become a zombie at a certain age, sort of?
eventually, yes. Every like couple million years or something, or couple like 50,000 years. It's like that's what scientists have worked out basically. And
Okay,
this one
fine.
scientist knew it was going to happen soon, so he wanted to make a vaccine, and by doing that, he basically engineered his daughter to become the vaccine essentially, which you find out at the end, and she
S-
goes missing, so you have to go find her. That's like where like the cliffhanger, I guess. But before any of that, you figure out that so you can basically like go you're immune, but you can go rage mode, which is basically like you turn into a zombie and you just like for a couple seconds you like do lots and lots of damage and you sort of claw your way through enemies, whatever, right? Um, but you figure out that you and a bunch of other people in this in LA, or like you and three other people, almost have this like telepathic sort of like zombie power that allows you to go crazy and like a powerful whatever. But you can speak telepathically with these other people, and they look like a really really cool way. They're like, oh man, I really wish you could see them because they look fucking like the way they've designed these characters so well. But yeah, they've sort of like done this whole weird like almost alien like thing with the zombies, and it really is the potential for it is amazing. Let's just say that.
Okay.
I really hope because they sort of left you almost. It feels a little almost like anime like this. They've almost set up like an anime series. Like they've ended it like yo, and it's like whoa, what? We need to know what happens next. Like it really is that level of like oh shit. They've left so many cliffhangers where it feels like they're gonna just keep. Hopefully, they're gonna add to it in whatever comes up next. You know.
And is this
And
any of this
story wise, I'm
story?
actually looking forward to it. Like
Sure.
really looking forward to it.
No, that sounds pretty cool. To be fair, is there any relation to the first game or Riptide in terms of story?
Yeah, weird. There are some like Easter eggs. I guess Sam B is in it, so he's actually a returning character. He's one of the characters you could play as in Dead Island One.
Oh,
So he helps you along the way in instances. Um, but there are some references to the first one. I think I don't know if they're trying to like get away from it very slightly, or whether or not it's actually linked in any way. They don't really say if it's actually linked too much. I guess it could
sure,
be if that scientist that was in the game was actually part of the original team, then it would make sense. Yeah,
sure.
but they don't. I don't think they might reference it, but I didn't see it if they did. So yeah,
Fair
that's
enough.
I guess
Fair
that's
enough.
end of spoilers. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
it's kind of amazing what they're
that's
gonna
cool.
hopefully do with it.
And that
It
that
really
that
blew my
DLC
mind.
idea
Oh
sounds
man.
pretty cool too. To be fair, so
Yeah, I think they've actually there's like some Easter eggs to the what could be in a DLC on the map, like the fast travel map. There's like two areas that are like potentially could be other places that we know about in LA, so
okay.
that'd be cool. That'd be
So we've
cool if
gone
they
over
did that.
story, we've gone over some gameplay, we've got some really cool gore systems going on, we've got
Yeah,
some DLC set up. For some reason, Jay, I want to ask about achievements.
sure. So I've done a fair amount in the game, but I've probably got more than half the achievements, but less than half of the 1000G.
I understand.
So the last couple of achievements I've got are all quite high level ones, like 100G here, 50 here, whatever it might
What are
be.
we talking? Are we talking collectibles? Are we talking stats? What are we
No,
talking?
there's sort of like a challenge thing in game where this is kind of amazing actually. I'll just quickly speak on this. There is a skill card system which gradually unlocks during the game, which is basically um like things that help you with your like if you kill an enemy you get like a fury boost, or you get like a health boost, or you get like a damage boost, stuff like that. Like these skill cards you can equip that you either find in the world or you unlock by doing certain missions that allow you to like have extra abilities and stuff. So that's quite cool. There's also a difficulty thing in that too, where if certain cards get equipped, you can have like a stage level thing called autophage, which is basically like you can sacrifice some of your health, some of your stamina regeneration for like more damage and like other benefits. So if you go autophage level 1, it's like a little bit of a sacrifice for a little bit of a boost. 2, a lot of a sacrifice, and 3, a lot of a sacrifice for a major boost. That kind of thing. So that's one thing. And then what else did you say? Where was I?
Achievements.
Achievements. Um, yeah, so there's these challenges in game which are pretty amazing because so let's say like there's a challenge that's like slay 1,000 zombies, which I've done by the way. Each stage of these challenges gives you like a permanent buff or like a permanent bonus that actually carries across the entire game in terms of like. So if I was to finish all the challenges on one character and then start a new character, my new character would have all the bonuses from those
Like a
challenges
badass
already.
rank.
Yes, like a badass rank. There you go. That's what I was trying to figure out. Yeah, there's like a badass rank system essentially, which is amazing because it gives you like more resilience, more health, more damage, all this kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Is there a new game plus for this? Do you know?
I don't think so. I'll let you know when I get there. I
Okay.
doubt there is.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think once you finish the game, you can just mop up and do what you want. Achievement wise, yeah. So you get an achievement for doing the first stage of each of those challenges. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first stage is pretty easy for most of those. It's getting to the third or fourth stage. It takes quite a while. It's more time consuming than it is difficult. Um, there's one that I'm trying to get right now that's just like kill a certain enemy before it mutates, which is pretty difficult. There is an area you can do it, but I haven't got. I've got to the area, but I've tried doing it. It's just pretty difficult. There's 2 that are co-op achievements, which are pretty easy. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that soon. The rest are either story. Yeah, the rest are story, and then the ones after that, collectible ones you get pretty early on because you don't really need that many to be able to do it.
Are you still getting them, or have you just got
No,
the
I've done them
collectibles for
all.
the?
They're super
Yeah,
easy. Yeah.
fair. Did you have to follow a guide?
No, didn't even need to.
Fair.
Because you only need to collect 50 collectibles out of the like 700 there are or something.
Oh right. Okay. So you can get that pretty
So it's
naturally.
really not
I
even,
just need to swap my batteries quickly, Jay. But crack on, crack on.
Yeah, I can't really actually remember the rest of the achievements, but yeah, they're not too bad.
Is it
I
is it
think
like
it's
50?
it's it seems doable. I think there's 44 or something like that.
Okay. All right. Are you going
I
for
think
it
I've
then?
got I think I've got 27 or 28, something like that. So over half. Yeah, I'm going for it. I want to hopefully before Friday get there, but I don't think I will actually. I think I might have to come back to it after um after Star Wars and after Redfall, which is kind of insane if you ask me, to be honest. Yeah. Can you still hear me? I bet you can't even still hear me. Batteries.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Just had
Yeah,
to.
so
Yeah.
I was just saying that I'll probably won't be able to finish it all before Friday, if I'm honest.
Why do you think that?
Because in theory, I've only realistically got. Well, let's say this: if I started playing at 6 o'clock on the dot every night, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for the next 3 nights, and I stopped playing at roughly 10 o'clock, that's 12 hours extra I've got between now and then.
That
So
seems
12
like.
hours from what I'm doing now. I'll probably get close. Yeah, it's probably fairly doable. I'll try. It's funny. Most of the people playing this game are complaining about how short it is. I don't think it is actually that short. I think it's actually a decent amount of time.
You've got
Like
side
if you
quests left.
spend,
Is that
yeah,
correct?
loads. like literally, I think there's more side quests. I think there's 40 total
Jeez.
side quests. I think there's 45.
Okay.
No, more than that. Hang on, 33 plus 15. 48. There's 48 side quests and 24 main quests. So there's
Okay.
72 quests overall. Is that how many there is? 48, 68. Yeah, 72 quests overall. Still
It
quite a lot. Like that's decent. And each quest is going to be roughly half an hour to an hour.
sure, but I, those people might be
Yeah.
thinking, like, oh, it costs 70 quid, and we usually say £1 per hour, roughly
Yeah.
speaking.
No, that is. The thing is, I do
I
hope
don't
to
agree with
try to
that
get.
necessarily, but
I do hope to get minimum like 50 hours out of this game. Oh, I kind of want to go through it again with all the characters.
I assume
Eventually.
there's no trophies, achievements needed for that.
No.
No.
Like I'll just play it because I think it's fun. Like I kind of want to play it more for the dialogue. I want to see how the other I want to kind of almost fall in love with the other characters. Like genuinely, I really fell in love with Danny during this. She's a badass chick. Tell you that right now, dude. She is fucking awesome. Like the stuff she was talking about, I'm like the references, man. Like this is a perfect game for millennials. Tell you that right now. This
Okay.
game was made for and by millennials, 100%.
Okay.
There is no Gen Zers on this. It's awesome.
What, in like
Like
references like pop
it's
culture and stuff?
perfect for late 20-year-olds. It is like genuinely like my demographic is right in the smack bang middle of it. It's perfect. It's reference heavy, like it's reference heaven. It's amazing. There's so many. It's so good. Like it kind of just feels like I made this game. Kind of what it feels like. That's genuinely what it
I
feels
assume
like.
you don't regret at the moment then getting it brand new,
Oh
whatever.
hell no! It's been worth every second's been worth it so far, and I can't wait for the DLC stuff either.
Nice.
It's gonna be sick.
Have you got the deluxe edition? Have you?
Yeah, I don't know when they're gonna release it though. That's the thing.
Probably a
I
few
don't
months,
know if
maybe
there is
August
actually a
time.
battle pass. To be honest, I think I might be making that up, but
What,
I
season
think
pass or a battle pass?
yeah, season. Actually, is there? I must double check.
I'll have a look. I'm looking now. I'm looking at your achievements actually.
Yeah, please.
Oh, Jay, these challenge ones look time consuming, bro.
No, it's only the first tier of each. If it was the third tier of each, man, we're talking
Fuck
80
that.
hours
Oh god.
easy. Maybe slightly less.
Collect 50 journals. Blah 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 blah. Blah, reach level 30. How's the RPG mechanics of this game, Jay?
The what? Sorry?
RPG mechanics.
Like what?
Leveling up, getting new gear, whatever it might be, upgrading.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people, from what I've seen, people didn't really like it, but I think it's fine. It's definitely not like the best. It's just pretty okay, you know. It's fine. It's 7 out of 10, fine. Like it could be a lot better. It could be a lot worse,
Sorry,
basically.
it's 60 quid. Well, in terms of the RPG mechanics, like it does the job. Like,
Yeah, it does the job. Like you're not gonna.
sure,
It doesn't do anything new necessarily.
sure.
I think the only really new stuff in this is I say the combat is probably one of the best things about it. Honestly, combat, story, and dialogue, and visuals are like your best. Everything else, like the actual like crafting and stuff, is not. Actually I like the crafting. I honestly can't really complain. That's the thing, but I'm fairly biased.
Well, Jay, I'm not gonna lie to you. Maybe these are just people who've bought the game, so they're a bit biased. But there's a lot of really positive reviews on the Xbox store about this game.
Okay. Yeah.
Hoodoo you voodoo,
Well,
bitch.
I'll talk about some news in a minute as to why that might be.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Oh yes, I
I
will.
can't see any thingy, Jay. I can't see any season pass.
I can. I've just googled it. Oh,
Oh, so there is a
I see
season
it.
pass.
There is a season pass. Yeah.
Right. And
There's
the game
also
looks
some.
good, you say?
Yeah.
All
Very
right.
much. I'd say visually, it's kind of amazing actually.
Ah, yes, expansion pass. I'm with you. I'm with you.
There's
Did you
also a
get the gold
character pack
edition?
that I don't think is currently out yet. I think you can download it, but I don't know if it's actually available to use
Okay.
yet.
Jay, this game does look really fun.
It is. I will say it's more fun than anything else. Like you don't play the game to be like, oh, what have they done to evolve? Although weirdly, I genuinely think the gore system will now be used in other games. I kind of hope it is if they haven't
Sure.
copyrighted it. But fuck me, it's really like this is kind of like almost the quintessential zombie game. Like in a way, it kind of is. Like they've kind of mastered that like idea of I just want to go around like
Killing
it's
everything.
honestly it's gross enough for you to feel sick playing it a little bit. Honestly,
What, even for the likes of yourself?
when I first started, I was kind of like, like, you know that thing where you like you swallow and go, oh, okay. Like you
Yeah,
have to prepare yourself. But now I'm kind of like numb to it. I'm literally just going around smacking the crap out of these things,
sure.
melting them. Oh, dude, burning them up.
So it looks
Yeah,
like
I've seen everything.
it looks like there'll be two main DLCs, so two brand new chapters of the story, it looks like.
Sure. Oh, dude, I can't fucking wait.
So
I genuinely like. I'm so excited for that.
I've got to say, Jay, I'm looking at these screenshots. I'm totally feeling that
It's
vibe,
pretty,
man.
dude.
It's
Let's just say
pretty.
this:
It looks
if I could
fun.
buy the game for you, I'd buy it. Just so you, even just literally just in case you'd play it for an hour, because it's
Sure.
so pretty. Like it's kind of
Sure.
like I when I first got in, I was kind of a bit like I don't know, and then it opened up a bit. Like I got to Venice Beach and I was like, whoa, shit! Like this game is pretty, dude. Like I actually think it's funny. This game is locked 60, by the way, 4K. It's
Fuck.
optimized. It's optimized. Optimized as shit. Apparently, this game runs phenomenally on PC. Like easy.
Wow.
Like you can play this game 120 frames, 1440 on like low res stuff or on like low PCs.
Wow.
Locked 120,
So
1440 on
question
like
then,
not even that
Jay.
good PCs. It's kind
Question
of
I've got for
amazing.
you, right? Whenever a game gets delayed, Jay, I always think that, or moves developers, I always like to think that basically the game starts from scratch. And let me give you an example.
It did,
Crackdown
yeah,
3.
to a
Um,
degree.
Sumo Digital took Crackdown 3 at some point, right? Yeah, I think. I can't even remember if they were the ones doing it. But what I'm trying to say is, I think by the time the likes of Joseph Staten went in to help that game out, I'm imagining his job get the game done and out, right? It's not to make an incredible game, it's just to get out the door. And I think that at that point that game probably, they probably built the game not from scratch, but they had something and over like a year, 2 year period they pushed it out, you know what I'm saying? With Dead Island 2, I get the impression that the most recent studio they might have had some assets and some resources, but I'm getting the impression they built
Yes, they
most of the
definitely had
game.
some. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you and I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, no, I mean I agree. I know what they took from previous developers and used for this. There was like it was primarily like concept stuff, like
Okay.
pre-production basically. Like a lot of the actual mechanics of the game was sort of like from the ground up. I will just say, like I'll make this as like a statement. I think this might be the greatest comeback for a game that's been like in development hell ever. Dying Light
Mm,
2, development hell, bad game. Crackdown 3, development hell, definitely not as good as 1.
a great game. Yeah, yeah.
Definitely not a great game. What other ones have been developed through development hell? I mean,
Oh,
we're
good
going to find
question,
out soon, but
Jables.
he's Skull and Bones, we're probably going to be
Oh,
bad.
please don't, please don't. I
But
mean,
I genuinely
Suicide
think
Squad. We'll talk about that, but
this genuinely might be the, like, going forward, if anyone goes through development hell, look at Dead Island 2 as to be like, we need to aim for that.
mm,
Because that is amazing. Like, I think this is genuinely the greatest comeback I've seen out of one of these types of stories I've ever heard. Because usually you get like really bad writing is something that can really affect development. Weirdly, like that's Dying Light 2. The story just wasn't. They didn't know what they were going to do with the story. They never really got it figured out. They just took too much from what was already there and just tried to make it cohesive rather than
I
actually start fresh. And it's like just start fresh.
100%. I have
Oh,
one, Jay. I have one.
go on.
The Last Guardian.
Oh god, I can't remember what that was.
So The Last Guardian was the third game made by the people who made Ico and then Shadow of the Colossus. So
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
it was literally the game they made after Shadow of the Colossus, but it came out in 2016. I think
yeah,
Shadow of the
yeah,
Colossus came out in what, like 2005 or something like that. I don't know,
yeah. A long time
2004. I don't
ago.
know. So it took years and years and years and they worked on other stuff, other projects, not theirs, other projects, but that game took forever. And I think it came out the same
Forever.
year as FF15, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
And I
20,
also 16, 15, 16. I want to say 16.
15. I want to say 14.
Nah, fuck that.
Okay.
So that took years, and it did bomb commercially, but I think it was fairly well received. I'm
2016.
not saying Dead Island 2 well received, as it were, or
Dude,
well received by you.
We're gonna find out shortly, but I genuinely think this might be one like the
Sure.
best comeback.
Yeah,
Don't call it a comeback, you know. Like, dude, like this genuinely. I might have to make like a top 50. I think it's in the top 50.
We're still early, Jay. We're still early doors.
No, seriously, it's fun as hell.
Would you say it's the best zombie game you've ever played?
Days Gone is pretty fucking amazing.
Days Gone's pretty good, apparently.
It's funny, there really aren't that many good zombie games. Like Dead Island, State of Decay, I don't think is actually that good. I guess Last of Us is in there just outside, you know, because I can see why it's an amazing game. Not personally, obviously.
I understand.
Days Gone is definitely up there. What other zombie games are there?
Oh, dude, Left 4 Dead.
Oh, Left 4 Dead, of course. Yeah, that's up there. I guess Back for Blood.
Back 4 Blood. That's not up there. Come on, let's
No, that's not up there.
Jesus.
So yeah, I'd say it's a contender. It's top 3 best zombie games of all time. I'd say Last of Us is in there in no particular order. It's Last of Us, Left 4 Dead, and either Dead Island 1 or 2. I think.
Okay.
For the third spot. For me,
Dying Light 1, I suppose,
personally.
maybe, but yeah, no, fair
Dying
enough.
Light. I even forgot about that. I don't really enjoy Dying Light, if I'm honest.
Dude, I tried so hard with that game. Me and Elle played it like 10
Crackdown 2
hours.
is a zombie game, right?
Yeah.
The bad one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, me and Elle tried to play Dying Light 1 for like 10 hours. Just never.
Yeah, I played it.
Clicked.
It doesn't hold up very well, by the way. Really doesn't.
Really?
Yeah, no, it doesn't hold up very well. It plays like a 360 game. Heavy.
Oh,
That's one thing I will say about this game too. It kind of feels like a next gen 360 game.
Sure.
But like it's packed with nostalgia, like a heavy nostalgia. Like when I play this, I just feel like I'm playing Dead Island 1 for the first time. But like with that, without knowing what Xbox One or Series X was, you know, like it is literally like reading a book for the first time.
Sure.
Or like the one that you love, or like watching a movie you love for the first time. It's kind of what it feels like, and it's kind of amazing.
Jay, is there anything else you'd like to just say about Dead Island 2 before we move on?
You know, I might just like things will pop in my head over the next like month or two, and I'll just sort of bring it up every so often because we could literally sit here for another hour and I could just spew crap and it wouldn't really be of anything, you know, good. So
substantial.
if I remember something, I'll pop it in.
All right.
I just want to say,
on the news.
You know,
by the way, yeah,
it's phenomenal, and it's definitely like has potential. Like most games nowadays, they've all got fucking potential, haven't they?
Sure.
They all just end up doing really shit on the landing. But I generally think Dead Island will be heralded now as one of the better zombie games. Although a lot of people, you know, think it's pretty mid. I think it's above average. I think I'm actually just impressed. If anything, it's above average for me, and I'm just thoroughly impressed.
Well, to be fair, Jay, I would argue a lot of games, apart from maybe Left 4 Dead, a lot of zombie games are considered mid. To be fair,
yeah.
Even Days Gone.
I genuinely what? Okay, here's a question for you. What is your ideal? What would be a 10 out of 10 zombie game, other than Last of Us? Although I still don't know if I count Last of Us as a zombie game. I guess
I probably wouldn't, to be fair.
If you could make a new IP, or even like an old IP, and bring it into the zombie universe, whatever it might be, what is the Spider-Man PS4 equivalent of a zombie game?
I've got the perfect answer to that question.
Please, because I think I need to think about it because this is kind of amazing. We need to do this more often, by the way. We need to like come up with a theme, be like, right, what's the perfect 10 out of 10 version of this game?
Sure.
We need to do that.
Sure.
It's a good idea.
We can do that. Sunset Overdrive, Jay, is the perfect answer to your question.
I still haven't played it. I have it.
It's a fucking zombie game, bro.
I
It's
know. I
by the
still haven't
developers
played
of
it.
Spider-Man. It's literally
Okay,
Ratchet
but
and Clank mixed with Spider-Man in a zombie game. And I'll tell you what
okay.
else, Jay. It's actually funny. Way funnier than the Saints Row ever was. Way funnier.
Okay, that's good to know.
Genuinely, really funny.
Okay, I will play it
Is
eventually.
it
I
on
do
Game
have it.
Pass? I don't know. I'm gonna find out.
No, it was on Games with Gold like
Oh,
6 years
so
ago
you
or
have got it.
something. Yeah, I have it.
All right.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I've got it from Gold too. Man, cracking game. But in terms of like a 10 out of 10 zombie game, Jay,
Yeah, like what graphically, what's the style, like what's the story, what's the mechanics? Is it third person?
zombie
Is it
game.
first person? Is it melee? Is it guns?
I'm
Like,
tempted to go more of a Resident Evil route
oh
myself,
shit! I
which
totally forgot about Resident Evil.
we
That is
snubbed it.
zombies.
We both forgot. We both forgot. Yeah, we
How the
both
fuck?
forgot.
Resident Evil. All the Resident Evil games are in top three. What the fuck am I even on about? Dead Island doesn't even make top 10.
Mate, Resident Evil's its own genre. To be
Resident
fair,
Evil 4
so
is one
sure,
remake. Then
sure.
Resident Evil Original 4. Then it goes like Rev 2, and then I guess 5 for some people, 3 for other people.
Maybe Resident Evil 1 for some.
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
Like all the
7,
Resident Evil.
8. I don't
My
know.
dad was probably screaming at us, by the way, being like, Resident Evil, what are you on about?
Oh, yeah, well, it
Oh, by
happens.
the way, I really badly want to see a Rev 5 remake.
Hell yeah, dude.
Dude, actually want to play that game remake with you. I'd happily do that.
Dude,
Because
I'm
I
down.
can't be bothered to play the original. I really can't.
Nah, don't do it. You won't like it.
No,
I did it
it's not for
recently.
me.
You won't like it. But you'll like a
I know.
remake. Jay,
Yeah.
I still think that Resident Evil 9 will be a co-op game. Genuinely.
Oh, I forgot about Resident Evil 9. Yeah, Village is up there as well. Man, Biohazard. Dude, Biohazard might be a top 3.
A lot of people say that they think Biohazard might be the best Resident Evil, which I'm not sure
It's
about.
one of them. It's one of them.
Mental.
I think it kind of started off, to be honest, I think Village is better than Biohazard, which is, depending on who you talk to, is
Sure.
scummy to say. But
Yeah.
you still haven't answered my question. What is the 10 out of 10? Like, if you had to come up with an idea,
Truth be told, Jay, I'm
like,
struggling.
would it be realistic? Like, would it be real graphics or would it be more cartoony? Like Dead Island. So I feel like
realistic.
Dead Island is realistic. Do you know what's funny about Dead Island 2? It's sort of like 90 realism and 10 kind of cartoony. Because of how gory it is, it kind of doesn't really feel real. It kind of almost feels like you're playing a dream. Like that sort of dream world of like everything's gory, all eyeballs are exploding. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, it's kind of hard, right? I feel like it's almost like a Walking Dead kind of game for me, but not Walking Dead. Like it'd be super
Ooh.
realistic. Like it'd basically be Days Gone, but in a different universe, maybe. That's kind of my perfect zombie game, I think.
Yeah, I tend to go towards realism.
Yeah, I feel like it would have to be like. I think it would literally be the beginning. It'd be like Fallout, but with zombies. Like it'd be genuine apocalypse.
Yeah, I agree. But like it would have like areas which have got no zombies in it to like give it a bit of
Yeah,
a break.
there'd be safe
Like
zones, 100%.
yeah, but what I mean is like
Like Oasis.
let's say let's say oh man, that's a fucking throwback. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. I think about that a lot, by the way. I don't know why. That's
Oasis.
like, yeah, that's just like it was a cool part of the game.
Oh man, that game. Whoa, whoa.
I know.
So like for instance, maybe if you get to like you know a bit in the middle of the Mojave Desert, for instance. I know that's New Vegas, but for instance, like maybe there aren't any zombies there because there's no people there. You know what I'm saying? So
I
like,
feel like it would
there's
almost be
fresh
like,
bits where like there's
yeah,
no zombies, and then you maybe meet some people. There's still lots of people around, but there are a lot of zombies. But the zombies have got to be. It's got to be fresh, bro. It's got to be fresh. Like uh, if I'm killing the same thing. I know you kill things in every game, but if I'm killing literally the same thing over and over again, the variation of animation and attacks and things I can do has got to be through the roof, in my opinion.
So are we saying that the perfect zombie game is basically an RPG Resident Evil,
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
like a Fallout Resident Evil,
Yep.
with looting and crafting
Yep.
and resource management and
Yep. Maybe not
a
as
house
tight
that you have to
as like
build and everything like that or whatever.
sure.
Like there's
Maybe
crafting and you have to build your house and maintain it and
with
defend it and
And like it's got survival elements to it, like a normal Fallout survival mode has, but
There's,
maybe not quite as strict as like your Resi 2
no,
resource management, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Because that
like it
I don't know
genuinely
if,
is just a zombie Fallout, isn't it? That is like the perfect
yeah, I'd say so.
zombie game. Okay, we need to go a bit more in depth with this, by the way, another time. We need to like
Sure, pencil it down. We can discuss
genuinely
it again.
like we need to go. We need to have like 5 main points we have to hit, like mechanics, story,
Yeah,
theme, like all this, and like hit each one of it. What's the perfect of that, and just come up with
sure.
like really cool ideas. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, to be fair, we don't speculate enough. We should
We
do
really
that more.
don't. We need to go more in depth.
Yeah, that's true. That's
All right,
true.
let's move on to the news. Let's do it. Let's do the best bit.
Okay, alrighty. Right, Jay. I've only got one story this week, so I'll just quickly
Yeah,
spout
go
that
for it.
out.
Yeah.
Basically, Oxenfree 2, I think there was a trailer or something for it, but basically they just announced that they're on PS4, PS5, Steam, Nintendo Switch, and not Xbox.
What is? I didn't hear the first bit.
Oxenfree 2.
Are you speaking English?
No, actually, I'm English.
This is like
Right,
before you say anything. This is what I heard. Oxenfree 2.
That's what the game's called.
Am I like dyslexic? Am I having a brain aneurysm? I don't know what's going on. Am I dead? What does that mean?
Oxenfree.
How do you spell that?
Oxen, like a
No. That wasn't the answer to my
Oxen.
question. Oh, by the way,
Oxen.
how do you spell sun? Sun? That's how you spell it. What do you mean?
as in like oxygen, oxen, like the oxen, and then free.
So OX.
Like I'm free. I'm feeling free.
Like a bird. No.
Yeah.
You spell it with the letters.
OXEN.
Okay.
Free.
FREE.
That would be 2 E's and an F and an R. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
And
two,
then
as in the number
two. Yeah.
So Oxenfree have a space in between. It's not one word. It's not Oxenfree. It's Oxen.
Yeah, it is one
space.
word. Oxen free. Oxen free.
Dude.
Space 2. Dude, it's not
Right.
fucking Octopath Traveler, for Jesus Christ. Are you
I need
kidding
to
me?
Google what this
I've
bloody
always
Oxenfree
spelling
shit
that.
is because I have no idea what this
So
is.
Oxenfree was I want to say it was a Game Pass game, but anyway, it was a
think I've
game with
seen it,
gold.
to be
I think it was a game with gold and Xbox, and then their next game, After Party or After, I can't remember what it's called. That was also on Game Pass.
I thought this was a Netflix game.
It is a Netflix game. Oxenfree 2 is coming to Netflix.
Yeah, The Lost Signals.
Boom.
Okay. Right, okay. That's the most obscure shit you've ever said on this podcast. And you've said some pretty obscure shit before. Jesus Christ.
The point of this news...
Where did we... Oh, it's a news thing. Jesus Christ, I forgot we were even talking about. I just thought you brought a random word. I thought, what the hell are you on?
Oh, Christ.
Okay, go on. Jesus.
Right.
That was a long-winded way to get to
Oh,
that.
God. Just fucking move on. Just move on. Basically, it's not coming to Xbox, right? So a lot of people...
Yes, I've heard about this.
Right. So a lot of people are like, what's going on Xbox? We haven't got Final Fantasy VII Remake. We haven't got Final Fantasy 16. We haven't got this indie game. We haven't got Octopath Traveler
all the
2.
pixel remasters for all the pixel
Square Enix, Final
Fantasies, yeah, all got released for everything but Xbox.
Ridiculous.
Like, ooh, ouch. How much money do you want to lose out from doing that? Jesus.
So why... I want to bring this up very quickly, Jay. I think a lot of people have said a lot of things, and I haven't got that many thoughts. Well, I have actually, yes. I'm going to dive right in. So, firstly, I think Xbox have got a lot of indie games anyway, especially on Game Pass.
They do.
So
They
I don't think they should be threatened by it. But there has definitely got to be a question here of, right? I'm not convinced, Jay. Xbox is in a good place, right? So Series consoles are selling okay/well, right? They're just not selling nowhere near as well as PS5.
So I was going to say, it goes PS5, Switch, and then Series X?
That's right. But they're still selling better than Xbox One.
Good.
I think. So, and to be fair, the actual consoles are great, right? Like, I prefer the look and feel of my Xbox Series X to the PS5,
And they don't
the fucking
whine
Wi-Fi router.
when you play them either.
Oh my god, dude, the PS5 noise from the disc drive is crazy bad.
It's not the disk drive.
Oh, yours does it too?
Yeah. So there's like a thing, like a bit of hardware in the PS5 that once it like gets going, it sort of like whines. I forgot what the name of the thing is called, but there's like a literally I've opened up my PS5 to look at it, which I shouldn't have done, but I did anyway. There's like a part I forgot what the name of it is. It's something whine. It's basically like a known thing that happens in PCs as well. But it gets quieter
Oh,
over time, but it's mine still does it. If I play like a heavy game, it'll like and like a lot of CPU usage, it'll just make like a humming noise, and it's very annoying. Which
wow.
the my Xbox hasn't made a single peep since I've got it. So all I hear is
Literally.
like a little bit of a and that's it. Like a
Yeah,
little
like,
breathe. Like it makes a bit
yeah,
of a
exactly.
and
Yeah.
then it does that once, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna be
Would you like to turn
quiet
me
now.
on? Yeah,
Hmm.
literally. It's
Exactly.
lovely. It's lovely.
It's so
Um,
quiet.
and
Jesus
it
Christ.
produces air all the time, which just makes me think it's good for
It
it. You know what I
genuinely
mean?
warms up my room. It's kind of nice, especially in
Agreed.
winter.
So, where the fuck was I talking about?
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
we're getting
So
off
I'm not
topic.
sure Xbox is in a good place, right? Because
Yes, I agree.
series are not selling great. Okay. Exclusives are still non-existent. Okay, they want to buy their way to exclusives. Oh, I know what you're going to say, Jay. Yeah, I know. We've got some stuff coming up, but for the
Yeah, we'll
most
talk.
part,
We'll get
without
more into that.
Bethesda,
We'll get more into that.
we've got
Yeah,
jack
they've got
shit.
nothing. They've got
Right,
nothing.
nothing.
Although I
And yeah,
guess they've
we've
got
got Game
Forza,
Pass, but
right?
for yeah, sure. You know what
They
I
got
mean?
Forza and they've got Minecraft Legends. That's all they've got.
It's a good job, Star Wars. Sorry, it's a good job PlayStation doesn't have Spider-Man 2 or Final
Coming
Fantasy
out,
16.
Spider-Man 2 should be coming out the same month as Starfield.
Fucking hell, we'll find out, won't we?
Realistically, well, I know I could probably bet a decent amount on it. It'll be out before September 30th.
Okay. So, man, September's not too far. Just yeah, that's
It really
cool.
isn't.
That's
I
cool.
booked the time off already. I can't wait.
So with that, those combinations of things, Jay, and now this third party problem. But they don't have a third party problem because they get the likes of Wolong, but they kind of do have a third party problem.
Yeah, it's
I'm
sort of like
starting to
pick and
think,
choose, really, isn't it?
yeah, and I'm also thinking, Jay, the financial model for Game Pass, I'm not sure while is great for us, I'm not sure is great for them because,
Okay, but how will it improve for them though? Do they have to charge more?
more subscribers and charge more. Yes.
Well, that's bad because you charge more, less people are going to want to pay for
Netflix goes against that model, as does
it.
Disney
But it's
Plus.
Netflix and it's Disney. We're talking
Sure.
about.
Yeah.
We're talking about things that are like have a lot of staying power.
Right. Which is why they
Microsoft
need
less so.
exclusives to come to Game Pass for the staying power, but they
Yeah.
haven't
So to be
got
able to
them.
sell more, they need to have better. They need to also not keep fucking up and over promising and under delivering is what they need to do. I
Correct.
think
Correct.
Microsoft's middle name is genuinely overpromise, undersell, I guess.
And
Underdeliver,
yeah,
that's what I was
under
looking
deliver.
for.
Yeah.
Underdeliver.
So, with all that being said, it concerns me. It concerns me, Jay,
Yes,
that
it's concerning.
they can't get a small game like Oxenfree 2. Is it then because they can't afford it? Do they not want to pay the price?
Well, maybe
Are
they
they
looked
being
at it
locked
and
off by
went, "That's not really
PlayStation?
worth it.
But yeah,
Not worth the
maybe,
hassle." You know, it's Oxenfree 2 for fuck's sake.
maybe.
It's not Starfield. It's not Redfall.
Sure,
It's not
it's not Fable.
Forza.
Fucking
It's not
make Fable,
Fable.
man. Jesus.
It's not
So
Ghostwire
I
Tokyo.
wanted to bring it up anyway, but
Yeah, yeah,
our eyes are on Xbox right now, Jay, and
dude.
I
We
am
actually
concerned.
find out on Wednesday if this whole $70 billion thing is more than likely going to happen.
Wednesday, is it?
26th of April is the final day people can get their verdict in, basically. Yeah.
You reckon?
So 20. Yeah, I know it is. I've been following it. 26th is when is the date when everyone has to be either yes or no on the actual thing. So we'll find out after the 26th, basically, at some point after the 26th.
Okay.
People can vote before the 26th. They can deliver their verdict before then. But I think 26th is the due date, basically. So if anything happens after that, that's it. It's final.
Crikey.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
let's
we'll
move
know
on.
very shortly if we'll be playing Call of Duty at Christmas or not. You know. How quickly after it goes through, do you reckon we'll be playing Call of Duty on Game Pass?
I'm hoping within a matter
I'm
of a
hoping
month.
within an hour. I reckon they'll literally do this. They'll go, hang on, button please. There's a secret button underneath Phil Spencer's desk. That he just presses, and then all of a sudden Call of Duty's on Game Pass. Just press the
100%.
little green button, and it's like, beep,
Right,
there it is.
Phil, can you press the World at War one, please? Yeah, no
Phil,
problem.
code red. Press the
Modern
green
Warfare
button.
1 and 2, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Perfect. Can you
Oh,
imagine
there's Black
if
Ops.
they got like new servers on Modern Warfare 2? That'd be insane.
Ah, they wouldn't.
Jesus
They wouldn't.
Christ. Oh, I
But
hope
that
so.
would be sick. That would be sick.
Yes,
Let's move on, Jay.
please. What do we
Dude,
want to do
this is a
next?
big fucking news story, man. Jesus Christ. Let's not do this one just yet.
Okay, pick the order. It's up to you.
Let's do Dead Island 2.
Please, we're back to it already. I can't believe it.
So we're going back to. Did they say this? Oh, in the press release, Deep Silver said in the press release, Dead Island 2 has sold over 1 million copies with
That's kind
1.1
of
billion
insane.
zombies killed, 756 million zombie limbs hacked off, and 45 million zombies sliced in half, with a combined
Jesus
total
Christ.
of 11 million hours and collectively died 28 million times.
I've
Jay,
died a lot, by the way. That game
is it
is
hard?
pleasantly challenging.
Huh.
I've probably died 30 times,
Fair
maybe,
play.
like
Fair
once an hour
play.
at least. Die a
Fair.
lot. Even at the end of the game, I'm dying quite a bit.
Jay, this news,
Pretty difficult.
in short, shocked me.
Yeah. Just funny. I didn't find out until I started looking up the news an hour ago, so I didn't even know. I would have found out if I went on Twitter later, but I just had no bloody clue. A
Did
million
you
in 3
expect this?
days. No. I didn't think we were going to hear the million number for like weeks, if not months.
Agreed. Agreed.
So actually, this is on a similar trajectory. How Resident Evil 2 sold 3 million copies in 3 days?
3 million copies.
Or Res 4 remake, should I say?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 4 million after a week, but it was like between 2 and 3 million after 3 days.
Yeah,
So
that
it's on
sounds right.
not the same trajectory, but like for a zombie game to come out right after the previous one, selling half as many in the same amount of days is kind of insane.
Yeah, exactly, Jay. Like, my question is, very politely, who's buying this game? Why would you buy this game if Resident Evil 4's out? And I mean that nicely,
I'm gonna do a bit of a calculation here.
please. Please.
Give or take,
Mm.
a million copies of this game, with on average the game costing 70 quid. That's like the middle price.
Okay.
You're looking at 700 million made in the first 3 days. And I don't think this game had that of a budget. It had a lot less of a budget, I'd say.
Yeah, but dude, development hell for 9 years.
Yeah, but the people who made it the first 2 times probably already got paid.
True, but not the publisher.
Sure.
But I get where you're coming
But you
from.
got to think the Saints Row remake and Forspoken both cost 100 million to make. And that's high for a game nowadays. Most games are like between 10 and 50 mil.
I
Like
thought they were more
AAA
than that. I
games.
thought they were like 200, like 100 mil, 200 mil.
It depends. Like 100 mil is a lot nowadays.
Okay. I mean, I heard that it's increasing, but alas,
It depends on the studio. Like if you're talking about Ubisoft, it's going to be a fuck ton. If you're talking about, Santa Monica or whatever they're called, like the people who make God of War, like the budget for that is probably like 90 mil, maybe 80 mil.
Sure.
It's not
Sure.
like it's a lot, but it's not.
Yeah, sure.
It's basically the same as what
Sure.
Game of Thrones cost,
Jesus Christ,
roughly,
yeah.
or like the one series of Game of Thrones.
But it's seriously impressive, Jay. I hope they've made their money back. I hope it helps
hope
the
so
game.
too.
I hope it helps
I'm
the
hoping
developers.
this means that the DLC is going to get funded pretty quickly.
Yeah, totally. And fair play to them. Fair
I mean, I'm
play
looking at
to
the
them.
comments on the IGN news story, and it's just like everyone's like, "Congratulations! Like this is amazing! What a comeback!"
Totally.
Very happy to see this. Devs delivered a finished product, rare these days. And then this person actually says, "Redfall won't be completely finished until who knows when."
Oh dear.
That's funny.
Hold it.
Oh
Right,
god.
Jay, next up, the big news story. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is delayed to February 2nd,
Feb 2nd. You know
2024,
what's
as
funny?
announced on
I'm
Twitter.
I'm kind of glad. It was going to come out at a time where I was not going to be able to enjoy it because I was going to be playing Diablo right after.
Sure.
I mean, I'm still a bit worried I'm not going to be able to enjoy Star Wars or Redfall at the minute. So, like, I'm still squished for time playing Dead Island. So, there's 3 games coming out one week after the next, and I'm
Sure.
finding that a little bit difficult right now. I'd like to have at least a couple of weeks in between to give me some breathing room. But yeah, it would have flopped. It's coming out right between the new Zelda game, May 12th.
Okay.
You've got Street Fighter 6, you've got Diablo, and you've got Final Fantasy 16. It's not going to do well.
I think you're right. I think it would have been hit commercially, Jay. But for
Oof, it would have
me,
been rough.
moving that aside from a second and your obviously personal diary, I think this is terrible news for the game. Genuinely.
I don't
I
think so.
don't know. For me, Jay, if the game isn't done to the point where you delay it for, what, 8 months, 9 months, I'm now
I think
thinking,
it's
and you've
10
already
months.
delayed it a year, 10 months,
Yeah.
I'm now thinking, okay, what actually
Well,
needs to be
technically,
worked on?
yeah, I think it was supposed to come out October 2022, right? That's what the first date,
Originally,
I think.
yeah. So now I'm thinking, okay, so
So
what do you
yeah.
actually need to work on for this game, right? Like, what is actually broken? What actually needs fixing? What actually needs improving on? Are you telling me that this game, okay, which is a live service game, okay, which probably got fucking 20 missions at best, are you telling
Yeah, I think
me
they're just
that?
trying to add more content, honestly.
I mean,
I think they're
I
just trying to
wouldn't be
pack it full of more
surprised.
stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because they can go about it a couple of ways, right? They can basically keep the game the same, not change much in terms of what we've already seen, and just add more of the same, or they can just perfect what they already have and change like the UI, maybe even how the loot is shown. Because I think a lot of the issue is more about the loot UI, which I think Diablo 4 is having a massive issue with at the minute too, in terms of like cohesion of like being able to see what stats do what basically. Like when I saw the original UI for the loot, I was kind of like, it all looks. It kind of reminded me a bit of Marvel Avengers, because I was like, it all just looks the same. Like I can't tell. The only thing that's different is the color.
Mm.
Like to me, and also like the legendary weapons didn't look very legendary. They just looked like reskins of other crappy weapons. I was like, there's nothing special about any of this. They need to almost take out of WB's other games what they've done in terms of loot, like Injustice 2, where they had like legendary weapons and like skins for that game and like armor and stuff. Actually looked pretty amazing. And it had a loot system that was pretty amazing. They just need to put more time into making things look cool. I honestly think if they did that, I think people would just come back and be like, "Oh, the game actually looks like a fully fledged game now." When I first saw that state of play, I was like, "This game doesn't look done. There's no way." Like it looks like a bait. It looks like an alpha. Like it looks like Avengers. It looks like a game that could be out now, but just wouldn't feel right
Yeah, see,
necessarily.
I disagree. I thought the game looked pretty polished, frankly.
I mean, to a degree, but that's the thing.
I,
Like, there's games that you look at and think they look polished, when they come out, you think, "Oh, this is underdone," and vice
yeah, sure.
versa. Games that
Yeah.
look underdone, when they come out,
Well,
they
that's why
look
we never really know
like
until we get our
polished as
hands on it,
shit.
right?
You really
Yeah.
cannot. Like, you can speculate as much as you want, and you can make some really, really good, educated guesses. But until you've seen it and experienced it for yourself, you're never ever truly gonna know. And even then, you still probably wouldn't be able to make up your mind. Like sometimes seeing is believing, but sometimes even when you see and believe, you still can't believe.
Yeah, exactly.
You still like I even with Dead Island 2, I still can't. I haven't had time to gestate yet. I need I
Yeah.
need I need at least a month or two to be able to like figure out exactly how I feel about it. Like everything I've said already
If
is
not
is
longer,
still up,
right?
up in the
Yeah.
air, to be honest. But
So in
yeah,
regards to Suicide Squad, yeah, I was like,
yeah.
as I told you loads of times, I was like feeling really good about it. And I'll be honest, Jay, after this delay, I'm now like, nope, nope, nope. We've got a cyberpunk on our
I'm
hands
the
here, ladies and
opposite.
gentlemen.
I'm the opposite. Whenever I hear a delay of any game nowadays, I'm like, oh, they're actually doing it. They're actually taking the time to fucking fix shit.
I just
Can you imagine if this game came out and it was buggy as hell and it just didn't work?
All right, here's
There
my
hasn't been a
comparison.
single beta test for this thing. There should, if it's a live service game, it should have been at least a beta test.
That's
Easy.
true. That's true.
Live service games should always have beta tests nowadays. You know they're doing another bloody beta test for Diablo 4.
Really?
They announced it May 12th to 14th. They're doing what they're calling it the server slam to like really really test out the servers.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Like
So
Diablo's had 3 or 4 betas, public ones, and had like probably 10 closed ones. That's an online game. If you've got an online game, you need to have beta upon beta upon beta. You need to make sure that shit works. If that thing isn't smooth as butter when it comes out, no good. That's your fault. You didn't do a beta. It's your fault.
agreed.
Fix it.
Agreed.
10
But
months. Fix
the
it.
thing about Suicide Squad, Jay, my analogy here, okay? If you look at some of your favorite bands, right?
Oh,
Were,
okay.
if, now, then,
I like
who,
this.
whoever, right? Yeah.
When? Yeah.
You look at okay, right? Let's look at Metallica, okay?
Where's he going to go with this? Where's he going to go with this?
Formed in 1981. First album comes out in
Okay.
1983. Second album comes
That's a
out in
long time.
1984. Third
Yeah,
album
so-
comes out in 1986. Fourth album
Yeah.
comes out in 1988. And the fifth album, which is the Black Album, just for those who don't know, comes out in 1991. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So within the span of 10, that's right, 10 years, Metallica basically create the best fucking discography you've ever seen, right?
Yep.
One of, right? Now, my point here isn't about the time frame necessarily. My point here is that as I've gotten older, I'm starting to think that actually time and resources being against you can sometimes create the best creative results. So you might find that when an artist has unlimited resources, they just make shit because like, well,
Yes.
what's the? I've got no
That's
constraints.
the whole
I've
point
got
of a
no.
starving artist, isn't it? They need to
Exactly.
be under pressure. You can't make a diamond unless there's a hell of a lot of pressure.
Exactly, Jay.
That's,
Exactly.
I think about this a lot. Like it's almost like that kind of thing of like when the cat is away, the mouse will play kind of thing. You ever
Right.
heard that? Like if the boss isn't around, you're not going to get any work done. You're just going to be lazy because the boss isn't there. So who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
If the
Yeah.
boss is constantly looking at you, being like, "Why aren't you getting this done?" You're going to get the fucking work done.
And I just think that for this game, Jay, I don't know, obviously, but I just
Well, we
get
can
the
speculate.
sense.
That's what we're here for.
Well, that's true. That's true. We're lazy here. It just makes me. It gives me the sense. It gives me the tingle. It gives me the ickling that this game is just not. Something's just like. What are you doing? What are you like? Are you
I feel
making
like
it?
you're very quick to lose faith, aren't you?
I have, Jay. Come on. We've been hit so hard in such
I
hard
know.
times.
It's almost like a comparison, almost like an abused wife, almost, right? Where like they'll keep getting abused, but they'll come back, like one of those kind of things. Is that not a good comparison?
Yeah, I get what you mean. So I guess it's a
Yeah,
good
that's kind of what it
comparison.
feels like, right?
Oh
But I
god.
want to keep coming back, dude. Do you want to know why?
Because you love Stella? No, please go on. Go
That's
on.
funny. No, because I kind of like how it feels, you know. Like it's starting to not hurt anymore. It's just starting to feel good,
Sure.
you know. Like would you? How would you feel if we were just constantly being like? It would get too boring if it was just constantly amazing, right? And there needs to be the bad for the good.
Yeah, I get that, but I also
the
get
ebb
that
and the
my
flow.
time's really limited, Jay. You know what
That
I
is
mean?
true.
So
We don't have a lot of
I'm
time
not
on
sure
this
I do
planet.
agree with that because I do genuinely think if you were like, right, Nick, you can only play every game this year that, just for argument's sake, IGN give 10 out of 10, right? So the only games you can
Sure.
play for the whole
You're
year,
playing 2 games,
right? I reckon
Resident
that's
Evil
still a
4
pretty good year.
and Zelda. That's what you're playing. You're not playing anything else. But yeah, sure. I can see what you mean. But the thing is, would you rather play 2 of the best games you've ever played in your life in 1 year, or 10 to 12, 8 or 9 out of 10s?
Hmm.
but never play a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's true.
It's up to you. Would you
I'm
rather
not
get
sure what I
more
would do in that
or
situation,
more
actually.
less quality or less better quality? It's a tough one.
Mm. Mm.
It's a tough one.
All right, let's move on. This is your
Please.
time to rant now, Jay.
Is it?
Because
Why?
Redfall is being capped at 30 FPS at launch, baby. 60
Oh, sure,
frames per
sure, sure.
second is coming later. And this was revealed on Redfall's Twitter. And they didn't tell us before like a week ago. Sorry,
I
2 weeks
still
ago.
don't think they've responded about to feedback or anything, which is frustrating. I have to do some more research tonight. But yeah, it's a bit sudden, a bit like because they actually they backpedaled, right, which was the whole problem. Was that initially they actually said the game was going to be 4K 60. It was on the Microsoft Store. It was all ready to go.
And they changed it.
It was marketed, and they took it back. They were like, actually, nah, it'll come later. And it's like, dude, this was basically what I was saying earlier about over promising and underperforming. Microsoft do that a lot. They really do. But I don't. This is the thing. I don't really know who to blame here. Where does the blame go? Does it go on the Arcane developers? Does it go on ZeniMax, or does it go to Microsoft? It's kind of hard to say, right? Like, who's the one making the calls?
Telling
Who's
the
the
yeah,
one making the
exactly. Yeah,
shots?
exactly. I
Like, is it
get
a fault
the
of a couple people in different places, or is it one person in one place? It's kind of like, is there enough micromanagement? Is there not enough management?
I get the impression, Jay, that if it was up to Bethesda and Bethesda, that they would delay it. But I'm imagining Xbox need them to get the
Yes.
game
No,
out.
I can almost guarantee you this. Well, I don't know, because again, this game's coming out. I think this game's coming out just early enough to miss out. Actually, no, it's gonna really get fucked up by Zelda. It's gonna get
But it's on
overshadowed by
Game
Zelda
Pass.
amazingly. It is true, but it will still be overshadowed.
But
I
what
think I
about
think
if
Redfall
Zelda
will
doesn't do?
last a week. It
Okay.
will last up until Zelda comes out, and then it'll be overshadowed for most of the time. And then there'll probably be a DLC for Redfall again, and then it'll come back slightly.
But to be fair,
But
Jay,
I'm pretty happy about that though.
that is a hard one because Breath of the Wild did take over, but at the same time, Horizon still shone, which was out a month before.
That's true. That's very true. I'll have to wait and see on that one. But
Jay, on the Zelda front,
yeah,
just very, very, very quickly,
yeah,
um,
go on.
are you genuinely expecting the reception and commercial success of Breath of the Wild? Because I'm not getting those same vibes.
I hope not.
Go
I
on.
mean, Zelda's cool. I think the best thing about Zelda is the music.
Oh,
If I'm honest, I think the
me
music
and you
is
both. Me and you
is
both.
is like top three music soundtracks of a game of all time.
Why isn't the game as good as the music?
It is. To some people, it is. It's sort of
I know.
it's their jam.
Yeah, all I'm asking is, what's the read online at the moment? Are people saying this is going to be the game of the
It's funny.
generation? Blah blah
When that
blah.
trailer came out, it kind of blew up, but it sort of fizzled again because people are just waiting for it at this point.
Sure.
I think the marketing for it died so quickly. It was just like, oh,
Yeah.
here it comes, and then it kind of went, well, you have to wait. And it's like you could have done this 2 weeks from now, and that would have been a hell of a lot better.
Maybe they'll
I
ramp it all up a
understand.
week before
I think it
launch.
was
Maybe.
primarily just to launch the pre-order for the game. I think that's why,
Oh, okay,
because
fine.
they're doing the special editions or whatever.
So Jay, let's be angry at Redfall then. So what we
Yeah,
saying? You don't seem that miffed, but you
it's
were miffed because we
frustrating
talked about it, didn't we,
because
on Xbox?
it's
So.
a first person shooter without 60 frames. What? How does that even?
Oh, that's
That doesn't
gross.
not in 2023.
Yeah, that's
That's just not.
gross.
You got to think, right. The majority of people who play this game are going to be playing it within the first week.
Mm.
It will lose players very quickly. I can safely say. I think. I'm kind of hoping it does well, because then I'm hoping this, if it does well, that they're going to release the 60 frames sooner. They'll get more people on it. Like, to me, it kind of blows my mind how they just haven't gone into crunch mode. Like, I
Maybe they
get
are in
crunch
crunch mode.
can be bad in some instances, but they need to go fucking all hands on deck. And one thing I brought up to you, and you were still miffed about, I was like, well, why hasn't this game gone gold yet, or has it gone gold yet?
No, I don't think
Because
so.
Final Fantasy 16 comes out in 2 months, and it's gone gold already. It's like, what? How does that work?
But to be fair, gold doesn't mean as much anymore because of online patches, right? So like,
Yes, yeah, I guess so.
but
That's true.
your point still remains, Jay. I think, like you say, not 60 frames in 2023 is unacceptable. But then also, why
Yes,
aren't
the
they in
standard
crunch
is
mode?
60.
But maybe they're in crunch mode and they still can't do it, which is the worrying sign. You know what I'm saying?
Did you watch the Digital Foundry podcast about it? They sort
No,
of
I
went
didn't.
into depth about what could possibly like the actual like developer reasons why it'll be happening. Essentially,
No, I didn't
it was
know.
primarily just like optimization issues. Essentially, like they probably had it working and then they um, added something to the game and something changed, and it was like, oh, actually, maybe like there was it either could have been that or like a bug, or it could have been that they. So each game has to go through like a sort of like a quality check for each part of the game. Essentially, I mean, you probably know
Hmm.
this. And they just couldn't get every part of the game for release to be able to be 60 frames. I reckon most of the games in 60, it's just they couldn't get all of it. Like they literally have to go through every section of the game to make sure it runs at 60. So they basically got to play the game all the way through, over and over and
Sure,
over until it
sure.
runs until every bit of it is smooth as silk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you just can't do that within a certain time frame, obviously. Maybe they thought they were going to get there in a certain time frame, and then actually they were like, we're probably going to miss it by like a month or two.
Mm.
I'm hoping it's no more than a month. Like I can, oh man, it's so frustrating because we just got it's Gotham Knights all over again.
Yep.
But the thing is, I don't know
On the
how
crunch,
much more Gotham Knights would have been better, or like would have sold more, or had a better marketing or whatever, better perceived had it been 60 frames and not, you know.
on the crunch thing, Jay, that actually really reminds me of Halo Infinite. And I believe they took a lot of pride in the fact that they never really did crunch, which I think is great.
Well, I think we
Um,
can have
but
evidence as to why the game isn't doing very well.
but at the same time,
Infinite's dead,
oh, I
dude.
don't want to say this because I don't want people to work, long hours and stuff. They don't want to. But what I
No,
will
but like if I
say
was
is that
working there, I'd be there. I'd be sleeping in office.
Red Dead 2 team did probably crunch quite a bit, I believe, right? It just so happens that game might be the best game ever. And
Which
then
game?
Halo Infinite. I know that doesn't stack up for every game. You
You
what?
said
Sorry,
Redfall 2.
Red Dead 2.
Oh, Red Dead. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but and Halo
Still
Infinite
got to
didn't
finish it.
crunch. But as you say, Jay, not necessarily for the launch, but for DLC and post launch. Like there should have been things out way fucking quicker than they were. And I'm not saying you should have crunched. I'm just saying it should have come out way quicker.
Should
If
have
you want that
planned
game to
better. Yeah,
live, you should have come out quicker. It's just simple as that. I'm just saying. I'm not
they just
saying it
weren't prepared.
personally. It just
Thing is,
is
they've
what
got
it
a lot
is.
of management issues currently.
Dude, Xbox cannot manage their studios. Simple
They
as
really can't. They're
full
awful.
stop, period, move on, throw it
Like
out the window,
it's
put it in a
honestly
bottle,
one
put
of
it in
their
the
top
sea,
three.
see it wash up in chroma, and then put it on the bonfire. You can't fucking control
Chroma.
your studios, mate. You know what I mean?
Love it. It's like it's one of their biggest downfalls. It really is. They just cannot manage for shit. To be honest, Sony is good, but I don't know if any company can actually manage their studios that well. To be honest,
I think Sony during PS4 was
it's like too
knocking it out
many
of the
cooks,
park.
isn't it? But yeah,
Yeah,
Insomniac
too many
killed it. They
cooks.
really
Yeah,
did.
that's true. Right, let's move
Too
on,
many
Jay. I
cooks.
can tell you're getting tired, so let's
I've been tired, dude.
last story for this week. A Persona 3 remake could be on the way. I heard about this.
Yes.
According to Gamatsu, who reported that a Persona 3 remake is indeed in development, a Twitter user has spotted some potential coding name things too on a website
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
I mean, we get this a lot. I mean, we've even had it with New Vegas. There's supposedly supposed to be a New Vegas sequel in
Right,
the
right,
works,
right.
but you know, this is just one of those speculation things where I just kind of hope it's true.
Jay,
Because Persona 3 and 4 came out on Game Pass recently, and I wanted to play them, but then I realized that graphically they're awful, and I will never play a Persona game unless it looks to the same standard as Persona 5.
half as good as Persona 5, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like it just
Question,
Persona
Jay.
5 is the standard now. If a game doesn't
Do
look
we
like that, I'm not
think
going to play it. I'm just
do
not.
we think they're working on that over a Persona 6 or as well as?
We'll go with as well as.
So a bit like a Capcom Resi Evil situation here.
I don't think we're
We're
going
going
to
to
get
work on
6 until 2025 at the earliest. Maybe
earliest.
longer. Maybe
So a bit like
26.
Capcom are making Resident Evil 2 remake alongside Resident Evil 8 sort of thing. There's, they're
I
doing
guess so.
both.
Yeah,
They're
different
hitting
teams.
both
Yeah.
streams. And then also, Jay, why Persona 3 and not Persona 4?
Persona 3 is heralded as one of the best, along with
Over
4.
Persona
So
4?
they got to do sort of in order, wouldn't they?
Ah, yes, that would
Better
make sense.
better for
Yeah.
marketing, better for sales. You don't really want to
Do-
go backwards. You want to go forwards.
If this is a remake,
Same
Jay,
reason why they didn't remake 3 before 2 of Rezio, I imagine.
yeah, no, that does make sense. That does make sense.
Yeah.
Jay, how much of a remake do you think this we're going here with here? Do you think they're rewriting stuff, or do you reckon it is very much
Um,
like a like? Imagine if they do a game. Imagine if they did it from scratch, and it was
yeah,
like
I
Persona
kind of hope it
5.
literally is Persona 5, but Persona 3. Like, it's just the same game, but
Yeah,
with the 3. Like, that's kind of
that'd
what I
be
want.
nuts.
Yeah. Yeah,
What do they call it?
that'd be
Persona
great.
3 Royale? That'd be cool. That'd be fucking cool.
I don't know. I think they'd have to go
Persona
with
3
more.
Redux.
No, I think they'd have to call it because the Royale thing with 5 was more just to do with thematically it made sense. So they'd have to name something thematically relevant, I imagine. And also, you got to think if they want to like improve in doing remakes, they'll start with the earlier and work towards the later, right? So if they want to like
Sure,
perfect 4, they'll want to have at least tested it on 3 first, you know.
sure.
Same with Resident 2, 3 to get to 4. Like 4 is basically an improvement of 2 and 3, like a massive improvement. And can you imagine if they started with 4 remake? Jesus, it would not be as good as it is.
Yeah, that's
Wouldn't
true.
even be close. Jesus,
That's true. That's true.
would not even be close.
All right, Jay, that's done. Done with the news for this week. Let's move on to
Yeah,
play some games.
not a lot of news, but
Enough. There's enough.
enough. Yeah, we went pretty in depth on those ones.
That is true. We did. We did. And with that, Jay,
Mm.
who was freed from Loki's
Uh-oh.
mind control by Black Widow and fought the Chitauri during the Battle of New York? Bruce
Oh
Banner,
god.
Valkyrie, Hawkeye, or Phil Coulson?
I think it's Hulk. Yeah, we'll go with Hulk.
It's Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. Damn it. I don't remember that. Unless it was the bit where they jumped on the speeder thing. I guess that could probably be it.
Yeah, you
Okay.
you will remember it. He dominates him at the beginning of the film.
God, it's been too long.
Ah, bro.
I can't remember.
I still remember going to the cinema to watch that with you.
Yeah, man. It's
Dude,
funny,
if you're like fucking, no one is ever gonna. We watched Avengers as teenagers, as a group in this cinema. It does not get any cooler than that.
that's true. That
We're
is
like
very true.
12-year-olds watching the fucking Avengers. Like, that's literally, we were on that. That's
Well,
literally the
17,
best
but
thing you can possibly imagine.
yeah, no, it is kind of amazing. Same with the Harry Potter movies. I saw all the Harry Potter movies in the cinema as well.
Lovely
Every
stuff.
single one.
Jay, let's move on to some achievement archive. We've got another fucking Hall of Fame 3 games this week. Very big news games. Okay, so first up, what's going on? This is not what I want. Okay, first up, I can't remember if we talked about these. I can't remember if we talked about these at all. Jay, you have to slap me in the face if we've already discussed these.
Okay.
Have we discussed about Cameo?
I think so.
Okay, Cameo first.
Cameo is a weird one because I remember it was like one of the first 360 games I played. It might have even been the first 360 game I played. And I got to like 300G on it, and then I just got stuck, and then I never really
Yeah, you
played
got
it again.
480G and you just quit, bro. Let's have a look at some of these
Yeah.
bad boys here.
I wasn't.
You got
I wasn't
100G
the most-
achievement for. Go on,
I
sorry.
wasn't the most competent gamer back then.
Was it an easy game?
I could probably do it fairly easy now, but not back then. My brain
So there's-
wasn't developed enough.
It looks like a lot of them are So you've got 20G secret achievements, yeah, and then every time
Yeah.
you free the main character, you got 100G, which is
You
big.
did, yeah. It's funny. I actually remember that. I remember that's
And
fairly
then you can also get rankings on each
in the front
level.
of my
So you
mind.
got to get an A ranking, and apparently you've
Yeah.
got
See, I hate it
to,
when you've got to get rankings on stuff. That always makes it shitty.
and then you've also got to beat bosses in co-op. I didn't know
Oh,
this had co-op, and you got to beat them in co-op, getting a rank A,
right. Okay. Interesting.
and also hosted 50 Xbox Live games on a single save game for 0G
Yeah,
achievements. For
I remember
0G.
that. Yeah, I remember back in the day, like some of the odd 360 achievements were like really troll esque. Like
Oh
they'd
my
ask you for the
god!
hardest things for nothing.
Beat Forgotten Forest in expert mode, 0G. All these experts are 0G. Castle Time
Yeah,
Attack, A rank, 0G. What the fuck
I
is
think
this
that's because
game?
they knew people were achievement hunters back then, and so they wanted to make you work for it.
You've earned 5,000 runes in a single battle, 0G.
Yeah,
What the actual F? This game has so many achievements, Jay. What the actual F?
yeah, yeah.
I
I
can't
love how
believe it.
you're amazed by that. It's kind of cool.
This
I'm still
game
pissed that
complete,
Dead.
a
Actually, you tell you what,
50G
that's
achievement.
the worst thing about Dead Island 1 is that the achievements all are odd achievements.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's the worst thing about it.
Dude, I got into the odd mode back in 2016, 17, and I literally had to sit down and finish this puzzle game that I bought that I didn't really enjoy, but I did it anyway. And I had
Yeah.
to sit down and do it following a guide because I was just like, I cannot
It's
have
the
this as
worst
odd anymore.
feeling. It's
I
the
can't do
worst
it.
feeling.
I literally had to
It really
fucking.
is. Knowing that you've got a 4 or like a 3 or a 2 like after that number at the end is like one of the worst feelings in the world. Because
Agreed.
that time in between you getting it, having that, and then not, and then having it go to a 5 or a 0 is like the worst.
The worst.
It can't be longer than a couple of minutes because if not, you're just gonna die.
It's awful.
Like it just feels like you're gonna die. It really, really does. It's awful.
Cool. I have looked up Cameo. I don't know if anybody else does, but who's listening, but I would not recommend looking up Cameo. It's not aged well at all. It's looking
No.
pretty old now.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that "Grab Me by the Ghoulies" cover.
Oh yeah, nice,
Do you
nice.
remember that? It's
That
like a very
wasn't rare,
similar.
was it? That was original Xbox, right?
That was original Xbox, yeah.
I don't know if it was rare, but yeah.
Also reminds me of that Sphinx game.
Oh, that dude, that was an Xbox Live game.
Yeah, they're all very similar sort of 3D graphics back then. Like they all had the same animation thing. Almost, that's like really old, like PS2 kind of looking, fucking PS1. Oh god,
Next up,
super
Jay.
nostalgia.
Um, arguably, arguably,
Arguably.
my favorite game on 360.
Uh
One of. Let's not be hyperbolic. Mass Effect 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mass
It's
Effect
funny.
1
I
is my
keep
favorite
looking at
Mass Effect.
Legendary and being like, "You need to play it, you ass." Because I've
Yeah,
still
you
got to
do.
finish 3, but it's really hard to get into. It
Just
really
do
is.
it.
I feel like it just hasn't aged well enough for me.
Just do it.
It might just be beyond my level of enjoyment in terms of graphical niceness.
They did a good job with it, mate.
I know.
They
It's
did.
just tough for me to do. It really is. I'll do it
Um,
one day, but I need to have nothing going on. Like I need to have like 100 hours of nothing. Easy.
I think you would get through it quicker than you think you would.
I don't want to get through it quick. I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, but you're enjoying it is still a lot quicker than me.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. That's true.
So we're looking here, Jay. So you definitely
I'd say
played
I'm
through
about
it.
33% quicker than you. I think in most games,
If not, yeah, I think that's yeah.
at least a third. Like if a
So
game took you 90 hours to finish, it would take me 60.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's probably right. I think that's probably right.
roughly.
So it looks here like you definitely did a playthrough of Mass Effect 1 back in the day. You definitely
Yeah.
finished a playthrough. You didn't get a 60th level, a character which is level 60, so you didn't do New Game Plus. You
I think I got to
also
54.
okay. You also weirdly didn't get a single achievement for like 150 shotgun kills or assault rifle kills or pistol kills. So maybe you
I
used a
probably
lot of
used
different
like
weapons.
just SMG or something, or
And
whatever
then,
was available.
oh, dude, looking at these achievements makes me want to play this version of the game so bad. Holy
That's funny.
shit. I love Mass Effect 1 so much. Um,
Pretty sure I still
it
have it
does
on
not
disc.
hold up well, the Legendary
It
Edition for
really
sure. But
doesn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, this game fucking
I
rules.
almost feel like Mass Effect has like had its day. Like I really hope they don't make any more Mass Effects.
I mean, well, they say
I
they're
feel like
gonna.
there's so many Xbox games that should just be shelved and never taken off. Like
A bit
Gears,
like a movie, though,
Halo,
right?
Dragon Age, I think, honestly. Um,
Just all new
what were we
IP.
now talking about? Mass Effect
That's a
should
fact.
just. They all just need to be gone. Like, get rid of them. Don't ever remake or do a sequel to any of them ever again.
I mean, to be fair, Jay, so I think of being
Crackdown should
extreme,
probably
but
be
but
shelved, to be
Sony did
honest.
just that with PlayStation, didn't they? Like they
Did they?
shelved
What they do?
Sly, they kind of shelved Ratchet for
Sure.
Spider-Man, kind of, not really, I
Yeah,
know, but you know what I mean. They've shelved Jack and Daxter, they've shelved a
yeah.
lot, they've shelved Uncharted for the time being. They've shelved a lot. They've shelved a
Good.
lot.
Fun.
Killzone they've
Out with the old, in
shelved.
with the new, dude.
Yeah.
Start make something that we're gonna remember. Don't fucking nostalgia bait us.
But what I do want
Hate
to
that.
ask, Jay, is what are your memories of Mass Effect 1 on the 360 here?
It was good times. Graphically, I always knew that the animation for the models wasn't that great. Like the mouths and how they talked was always a bit naff even back then. Um, I think mechanically it was pretty fun. Like it wasn't boring at the time. Now it kind of feels a bit outdated. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have like much to compare it to. I feel like we've been spoiled to death with so many good games over the last decade that anything before that just feels like naff, to be honest.
I would say things before that feel nostalgic rather than necessarily
Yeah,
superb. Yeah,
sure. It just depends on that's when personal preference comes in, I guess.
I get that. And what's interesting
Mm.
here, Jay, the last game for this week for Achievement Archive is the sequel to one we did last session, Gears of War
Uh,
2. How interesting.
it's funny. I remember the story of Gears of War 2 being more enjoyable than one. I think. Is
Agreed.
the second one where Marcus, not Marcus, what's the name of the other character? There's Marcus
Dom.
and who's Dom? Where Dom finds his wife,
Yes.
like in that pod or something.
Yes.
That's my only memory of Gears 2, I think. And was it Carmine died in 2 or 3?
He dies in 1 and 2, but not 3.
Right, so yeah, I remember Carmine dying and Dom finding his wife. That's pretty much it. I don't really remember much else. It's weird. I think about that pretty often too. There's like some scenes in games where I'm like, they sort of defined my memory. Like there's some things in my memory that just pop up every so often. I'm like, why the fuck am I remembering that right now? It's just like these weird sort of like early 360 memories that just sort of pop up every so often. It's probably your fault for bloody bringing up these games.
Something that stands out to me, Jay. I mean, like, I could talk about Gears of War 2 for 2 hours with you.
My memory is so bad for stuff like that. It really is. I
Sometimes it's
remember
good to
like dates really
reminisce.
well, but other than that,
Sometimes
my
it's good to
memory,
reminisce, Jay, and like
my head
to
is too
recover
full, way
the
too full.
memories. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess, yeah. Maybe
you
the
know what I
memories
mean?
are there, it's just they need unlocking.
Yeah, exactly. They need
It's kind of what it
unlocking.
feels like. Like I
You
reckon if you now explained to me the Gears story, like the Gears 2 story and like some of the beats in it, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, I remember that. But I could not for the like if you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened in that game, other than what I just said about the very Dom and Carmine thing.
no, look. If you watch like a YouTube movie compilation movie, you would definitely remember some
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
I would, but like I say, without help, I couldn't. No, not happening. I
So
think there
my
might have been a bit where you have to like enter a building at the beginning, but I don't know if I'm getting that mixed up with 3. There's like a bit where you've got like you're sort of like in the car with like the multiple wheels or whatever. Yeah, it's all so foggy. It's just like this weird like dream almost.
so my memories of Gears 2 very strongly is playing it with Lewis from school, and that
Yes, I remember that.
yeah,
Oh
and
wow, yeah,
because I mean,
unlocking.
he's still a Gears fanatic, genuinely.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I mean, wasn't
Yeah,
his gamer
he was a
profile
lot better
the
than I
Gears
was.
logo for like probably close to a decade, right?
I think so.
Isn't it
I think so.
still the logo, or did he
I
change it?
don't know. I don't know. But
He had it for a
I remember
long
playing with
time.
him a lot, and in terms of Gears 2, I do for some reason I still remember the achievements popping as I was playing through it. One of the things that Gears has always done incredibly is achievement lists. Like if you were like
Yeah,
gun to head, Nick, who has the best achievement list ever? It might be one of the Gears games in terms of that constant reward, but also challenges to grind, but also collectibles, but also skill based challenges. Gears 2 achievement list is fucking
it's just
awesome.
very, very well rounded, is what you're saying, right?
It is, and it's got story achievements in it too. But I do remember very vividly the hospital at the start. I remember
That's
vividly
probably what
the
it
bit
was.
with the drop
Hospital.
pods, and obviously oh no, I forget his name. Chairman. Mm. There's a speech after you do like the first couple of chapters in the game, and it is awesome. Genuinely, like one of the best things I watched as a teenager. Loved watching it over and over again, and loved this game. Obviously, probably,
Obviously,
obviously, Gears One is very. Oh, Gears One is so good
classic.
and nostalgic, but Gears Two for me is like just
It's one of
for
those
me it's the
instances where the
Godfather
sequel
2
is
of the
yeah,
God,
is
like
kind of either
it's
better or just as good. Yeah.
so yeah. I mean, so you've got
Okay.
435G here, so you definitely finished the game, and I've got 1075. Just saying, but you definitely finished the game here, and you definitely got a few. Also, you got them for doing the whole game in co-op. So I'm wondering, did we do it in co-op? Did you and Gurney do it in co-op? Like what?
Potentially, yeah, me and someone, yeah. It might
Yeah,
have even
okay,
been me and Floyd or Dean. I could be
sure,
wrong.
sure,
Um, it's funny. I wasn't really much of an achievement hunter back then. Achievements didn't really mean much to me.
sure.
I think weirdly, achievements have meant more to me in the last since just before COVID, like 2019 onwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't really come back to playing it until then. So maybe when I got a PS4 and trophies sort of like became a thing, I was like, maybe I should do achievements again. They actually feel kind of rewarding again.
The last thing I'd say about Gears 2, Jay, is
Mm,
that was a time in our lives, both of us, where time wasn't necessarily an
goes
enemy just
by
yet.
so
And
slowly.
and when you have a game like Gears 2, I don't know whether it's because at that point we still can't get every game we want, right? We haven't even got
Yeah.
Xbox Live games with gold at that point, right? So I don't know whether it's that and whether it's the move to more free games and stuff, but basically Gears 2 is definitely one of those games where I think about going on it again and again and again and again and again, but not necessarily just multiplayer, like trying to do all the campaign on Insane or trying to get all the collect, like just genuinely playing it a
We
lot.
didn't have anything else.
Well, exactly. Like
Couldn't afford to
now, I'm
get
like,
anything
okay,
else.
get through the game, okay, move on, fucking get through it, yeah, move on. You like
Yeah.
shelve it. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas a game like
I feel like
that,
I
at
try to
that
find
point,
a happy medium of
right?
like getting through it and then also knowing that this is all I've got right now, you know. So
And I
take your
think
time. That's
that,
why again, Goldilocks, man.
well, I think when I get to a point in my life when I'm buying new games, right, like 3, 4 a year, and like, that's the only things I'll play. It'll be what it'll be. Like it'll be like Jedi, Spider Man, Final Fantasy, and Resident Evil 4, for
Star.
instance, this year. Like and Starfield, but that's on Game Pass. But you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like that
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be the 5 games of the year, right? But
So if it
because I've
wasn't for
paid,
Game Pass, you'd be playing a lot less games, wouldn't you?
that's true. That is true. But
Hell of a
because
lot
I've
less.
paid full price for them, I imagine in my mind I'll be thinking, well, I need to get my money's worth here. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
playing
that's
him a
kind of how
lot
I feel with Dead
more.
Island, to be honest. I feel like if this was on Game Pass, I probably wouldn't have given up by now, but I probably wouldn't put in as many hours as am thinking about currently.
Sure. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally. So this was obviously a point in my life and probably our lives where, like, you know, it'd be like one of, I don't even know, like one of 3 games for the whole year. I genuinely don't know. I just don't know.
trying to
But
remember. I think the
maybe
only
we
games
got
I
loads of
actually
games. Maybe we
remember
borrowed loads. I don't
purchasing,
know.
or like the only games I remember like going out and having spent money, maybe not my own, maybe mum got them or whatever, was like Just Cause 1, Mirror's Edge, maybe Gears 1 and 2, and then probably a Call of Duty here and there. Other than that, I don't really remember much. That's about it. Like, I genuinely think, well, I mean, I've got loads of physical games, so I must have bought them at some point. But how many physical games have you got, would you say? 361?
Right now,
Yeah. Well, how many had you had at your max? Like, how many physical games have you bought, do you think? I think mine's probably not even that much. Mine's probably between 40 and 50.
I'd say mine's between 30 to 40. Maybe
Okay.
25 to 40. Yeah.
Would you consider that a lot?
For
How
you,
many
sorry, or for
digital
me?
games? How many digital games do you think you've bought total?
What do you mean by like bar? What do you mean by bar? Do you mean like buy, or do
Spent
you mean like?
money,
Oh,
not
fuck.
including Game Pass, obviously.
That is so
I think
hard
it's
to
probably
say.
close to 100, if not more.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
There we go, I guess.
Well, they're on sale, right? So like,
Yeah, it's just so much more. I think it's more about accessibility than anything else.
mm, agreed.
Yeah, man.
Groovy. All right. Right. Last up, for the games this week, Jay.
Mm.
Are you conscious enough to do Guess Who's review? You reckon?
I'm conscious, yes. I'm
Okay.
actually I'm more awake than I seem. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
I can't remember if I did actually do this one, but we'll find out.
Okay. So for those who don't know, guys, you fakers, Guess Who's review is basically we'll pick a random review, game review, and then one of us each week or whenever we record, whatever, we'll have to guess the game based on 3 quotes from the
It's
review.
been a while since we've done this.
Jay, what are the scores on the doors?
37 me, 34 you.
Jesus, how has that happened? I'm definitely better than you at this game. How has
Yeah,
that
you
happened?
were ahead for a while. I
Okay.
think you just gave me some easy ones, probably.
No, I don't think that's true. I remember you getting some pretty good ones. To be fair, right? Hit me.
I'm trying to think which one to pick first.
Oh, here we go. Let the games begin.
On paper, this game is actually a very short game. Its 5 levels can be completed in just a handful of hours, even right from the first time you start a new save file.
Okay.
That's pretty vague. I think that should give you a pretty good idea of what the game is, what the genre of the game is, at least.
Jay, I've got a game that's come to mind, and I'm gonna have to guess it.
Go on then. Because this actually if you've played the game, you'll be like 5 levels. It must be this.
Is this game Left 4 Dead?
It isn't, no, but that's an interesting guess.
I mean, it has got
Because
like 5 levels,
I can't remember if it's got 5 levels or not. It's been a
which
while
can be
since I
done in like
played
a
it.
number of hours. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
I guess that was a good guess. I think you need to think more about the fact that it's a very short game, can be completed in a handful of hours. Even the first time you start a new save file, like it's kind of, you know, where's that leading you?
Indie games.
Okay.
Um,
What about
but like
genre of
like
game? I'm
like a
giving you a hint
journey,
here.
but not a. Wait, 5 level? No, that can't be right. Telltale games aren't necessarily like 5 levels. I would say they're more like 5 or 6 episodes.
All right,
So
which one do I go with next? Because if I say that one, okay. Are you ready?
yeah, sure.
There are 2 attack buttons that you can go between for a variety of combos, each with their own specific function. A guard button for blocks, parries, and sways. Sways is probably the most important word in that.
So I'm thinking, is it a roguelite? Because it's got 5
Okay,
levels.
that's what I was hoping you'd get to.
Okay. Um,
I'm giving you like heavy hints here. I'm really letting you like get there. I'm letting you gestate.
well, a big roguelite at the moment is obviously Hades,
There are
but I'm
2 attack
thinking
buttons that you can go between for a variety of combos, each with
Hades.
their own specific function. A guard button for blocks, parries, and sways.
I don't know if
I don't,
Hades got
I don't
sways. I
think
don't
Hades
fucking
has
remember.
sways. What the hell's a sway? What kind of game would you want to
What is a
sway in?
sway?
What game would you want to parry, guard, block, and sway in?
I appreciate you giving me hints, Jay. It's
It's
just
frustrating because I will say this: if you haven't played this game, so that doesn't help. But had you given me this as a thing, I would have told you to fuck off. I'd have been like, nope, I don't got a clue.
oh really?
Even though I've watched someone play through this game multiple times,
And
very
you
fun.
wouldn't have been able to get it.
Still wouldn't have got it. Nope.
So I know
I
Dead
probably would have
Cells
said I
is.
would have said Hades. I would have been like, what are these roguelike games? Like, I haven't even
So
played
we've
that
got
many.
Rogue Legacy. We've got the one I just literally just
I
said.
think combos
Dead Cells.
is a pretty interesting word.
Ooh.
Because as soon as I said the
Ooh.
third one, you're gonna get it instantly. So,
Jay,
well, I say that,
I've
but
got a guess.
yeah, I hope you know what it is now. I think I've given you so many fucking clues.
I'm not sure if it's a roguelite though, but I've got a
I think it
guess.
is.
Is this game
Go on,
Sifu?
then. It is Sifu. Yes,
Oh
very well done.
yes! Come
Got it on the
on,
second one.
lads.
Well done.
Oh, thanks,
So
bro.
yeah,
What?
the third one is every time I restart the third level, I will be 65 years old and only have 2 lives for the rest of the campaign.
That makes sense.
So there is
Yep.
an aging mechanic.
That's a sick game, Jay. Well done. That was some great quotes there. I thought it was very
Yeah,
fair.
man.
Very
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, yeah.
Sick.
I didn't need to give you all those hints, but I thought I might as well make it a bit more interesting.
But you did. But you did. Right, I'll
Yeah, I
have to do
think it's
mine next
helpful.
time. Right, Jay, we can wrap up as soon as I've elaborated to you what I've been playing, if that's okay with you. If you've got
Please, yeah,
5 minutes.
I've been looking at your list of stuff you've been trying out, and I'm like, oh, I'm very surprised. Well, I'm kind of surprised by that one.
Sure, sure. So, first thing I'll say is takeaways from our last therapy session, Jay. Um,
Yeah, we did have a good
reflect.
one last time, didn't we?
It was reflected on
We're
it,
still talking about it, yeah.
and I've put it into action, and
Oh,
I
this is good.
feel great.
What have you done to put this into action?
The Witness, I have.
Yes, I'm jealous. I really want to play that game, but
So,
not paying for it.
sure, sure. It might be on your PlayStation. Yeah, I don't know. You might have it.
No, I doubt it.
Okay, just
I think
you
I
might
would have
have it on one of
remembered.
them, but yeah. So I followed your advice, Jay. So basically, what I did was, basically, as soon as I got stuck, I sort of looked it up, and I was like, okay, I'll give that a shot. And then if I was like no chance of my working that out, I just did a guide for it. Now I can tell that some of these puzzles are really well designed. You know, like you probably have to write stuff down on paper, and you'd have to memorize things, which is all great fun if you're into spending 30, 40 hours on a puzzle game. I am not. So just out of respect for the game, I'm using the
Dude,
guide to
give it to
finish it.
me. I want to play it, dude.
To what, you want to play it properly? Like figure it
Yeah, I
all
want to
out?
play it properly. I can't
What
wait to play that game.
you just told you Jake, you were the one to tell me to use a guide.
Yeah, I'd probably still use a guide.
Okay. Well, it's a
Because
really cool game.
I wouldn't play it to play it. I'd play it to get the achievements.
But here's the thing, Jay. You would still struggle on some of them, which I can
Probably,
spoil
and
for you if
that's
you
kind of
want.
what's good,
But
you know.
right, exactly.
Like I
So
see The Witness, and I kind of think, it kind of reminds me of Portal.
totally,
Well, Portal 2, I should say.
yeah.
But
You're
even
talking
so,
about that caliber of puzzle game, I would say.
that's about right then.
So it is one of those where like you like sort of like I can see that you would find the solution and go, oh my god, you know. But yeah, using a guide for it. But I just want to say, Jay, that following our conversation, I don't feel bad about using a guide. And
Good.
actually, it's making me want to play the game. So,
It's funny, once you kind of get over that stigma, it kind of opens up a whole new world of like, oh, I can do that now. Cool.
Exactly.
Like you just don't
Exactly.
feel what who you got to prove to, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
It's all in here, man. All that kind of stuff. I don't feel any remorse, resentment, regret about ever using a guide for anything. I won't play a game now unless I follow a guide most of the time. Like I'm genuinely worried about. Um, I'm not
Jedi?
worried because I know. Yeah, Jedi is going to be fine because power picks are amazing. I used their guide for the last one. They've got amazing guides. Redfall I'm not worried about because it's a looter shooter, so that's fine. Um, Final Fantasy 16 is the one I'm worried about because it's a Final Fantasy game. You know,
Mm,
like I've only ever enjoyed Final Fantasy games years after they come out. I
sure.
think the only time I've ever enjoyed a Final Fantasy game on release is remake 7 remake.
Yeah.
Played
Yeah.
that day one, and that was
But
buddy.
oh god,
But there
yeah, it
was a
was.
guide for it, so you know.
But and also, Jay, it depends if there's missable trophies. Because if there aren't any missable trophies, you got nothing to worry about.
Even if there are missable ones, depending on what kind of, because missable can mean a different amount of things.
Yeah, of
Missable
course.
can mean glitched, you know. As long as there's no glitched trophies, I'm fine. If it's missable, it's fine because I can get it. I just have to not miss it.
Yes, correct.
That's the thing.
I would rather have. Oh, as painful as
I'd
this
rather have
is.
missable than glitched.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Which
glitched
leads
is
very
bad because it needs
nicely,
fixing.
Jay, on very quickly on your point, Jay. I do feel like a whole new world's opened up to me, and now that
Okay.
I will consider games which maybe I wouldn't have before. So there we are.
Let's put it this way. What's your gamer score right now, roughly?
220,000, I think.
I genuinely think that would have been easily 300k had you have used guides up to this point.
Well, I have used guys in the past.
Yes, but I mean without the stigma. I think you would have had so many more achievements than you currently have.
There we go.
Maybe even 250. We'll go 250.
Do you not find it a ball ache to follow a guide every time you play a game, Jay? By the way, like with your laptop on and
It's
stuff.
honestly like half the fun for me.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say a third of the enjoyment is using a guide, a third is playing the game, and a third is having known I played the game and
Because I
enjoyed it.
find that when I sit down after a long day and like turn on the thing or whatever, like the idea of
Yeah.
having to get the laptop out as well, I'm like, oh,
Why using a laptop?
what you use? Your phone?
My phone, dude. You kidding?
Where are you
It's
putting the
right. It's
phone?
handheld in my hand.
You no, but you but yeah,
Okay,
but
this is what I do, right? This is what I do. I'm playing my game, got my controller, I'm playing my game.
yeah.
Phone's probably either on my lap or like beside me, and it's off usually. And I'm like, right, I've already looked at the bit, I've looked at the video or the clip, or I've read the bit of text that says get to this bit, and then once I get to that bit, I double check. I'm like, right, I'm definitely there. I grab the thing and right, I'll watch the video for the next bit. I'm like, cool. Once I get there, I'll double check again. I just keep doing that over and
What? And
over
you're
until I
locking
get
your
it.
phone every time?
Pretty much, yeah.
That would drive me insane, bro.
Nah, man, it's funny how that actually kind of used to drive me insane too. But now that I know that there's been enough examples of me having got annoyed at that and realized that had I just not been annoyed at it, I would have enjoyed the game more. Where I just do that now. It's
Are you
almost
not?
like having to like eat enough of a bad food that you don't like to then start to enjoy it. Kind
But
of.
are you not also annoyed uh, at like watching the game literally per second right before you play it, like that moment?
No, it doesn't
Huh.
bug me. I feel like it depends on the IP, honestly.
On the game, yeah, sure, sure.
Although even then, even if it was Final Fantasy, I don't think I'd give a shit.
Really?
No, I don't. It just doesn't bother me anymore.
Okay.
No, I feel like spoilers to me don't affect me. I'm trying to think. Like, yeah, I genuinely don't think spoilers really affect me that much. I think even if Starfield got spoiled, I'd probably be happy about it. I'd be like, cool. Where can I read it? Give it to me.
Oh
Like, it
god.
wouldn't. I genuinely don't think it would affect me. Like, I think the only time I've actually been recently affected by spoilers, and it's very minute amount, is the Pokemon game that came out recently, November last year. I basically like. I think the only reason spoilers spoiled it for me was because of how long the spoilers went on for. and because they started so early, the spoilers for that game started like 9, 10 months before the game came out,
Mm.
maybe even close to a year, and they didn't. They sort of kept going. Like every day was like a new thing, so it was just a constant bombardment of stuff I knew I was going to see once the game came out. And because it lasted so long, I kind of felt like I already played the game before I even played it. So that's what affected. But if you get spoilers that are like all at once and it's like right before the game comes out, it's like cool. If anything, for me, it's more of like it's almost like being able to cheat on a test. Like the game, playing the game is a test, and being able to cheat to know what you're going to do and prepare yourself for it. For me, it's more about preparation or studying. Like I'm going to enjoy the game more because I know that I'm not going to make as many mistakes.
Sure,
I'm not
I
going to
get
have to
that.
learn from my mistakes because I've
I get
already
that.
figured that out. For me, it's all about preparation. It's all about studying. Spoilers to me are now studying and preparation. It's like having like when you study for a test and you have the book with all the answers in, but the answers aren't given to you. You have to actually read through the book still. Like it's the book that has all the questions in. They're just not in question or answer form. They're in text form. Same thing. Just like having a book that gives you everything, but you just have to read it, and then you'll know all the answers. As long as you memorize it, you'll have all the answers. Look, it's funny that I wish I had that mentality in high school. I probably would have done so much better on tests. Like I hated doing that back in the day, but I love doing that now.
Yeah, sure,
I love
sure.
studying for games because I actually enjoy games. But I don't like studying for tests because they're shit. That's probably why. Give me a
On the
good game to
point,
study for, and I'll study the shit out of that.
on the point
That's how you
of
should think about it, honestly. Think about it from a different perspective, and you'll probably enjoy it more. Just
on the
think about
point
like it's preparing for getting good at the game. Same with Dark Souls or any of those kind of games. Prepare to get good at it, and you won't find the game as daunting once you get there.
mm,
That's how I see it. That's how it works for me. As personally, that's how I enjoy games nowadays.
I
I
get
have to
that.
study.
On the point of glitches,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
does lead on to my next game. So I'm not sure if I
Ooh,
talked about this, Jay, but my love affair with Master Chief Collection continues. So a
yes. I don't think
broken,
it'll ever die.
glitchy piece of part. Exactly. I don't think I'll ever die either at this point. So
Play it
basically,
to death.
me and Will talking about what are we gonna play? What are we gonna play? And I'm like, oh mate,
What? So
maybe we
you're
should
looking for
try
the
out.
next thing to play together?
Following Resident Evil 5.
Okay,
So I'm like,
that's
oh, why
interesting.
don't we check out Master Chief Collection? Maybe do like some Halo
I
Reach
like how you
levels
say check it
on,
out. You've been playing that game together for years. I don't know.
but like specific things. So I was like, maybe we should just try some part times in Halo Reach, for instance, right? So I don't know if you know this, but every level, you have to finish. You have to finish on legendary, and then you have to finish the part time and the part score. Now you might get the part time the first time you go through the level if you do it on easy, for instance. You might
But
get
you
the
won't
part
get the
score if
pass
you do it on
score.
legendary. But yeah, there's
Yeah.
a very unlikely you're gonna, unless you're an absolute pro esport
You
player, you're
basically
probably
have
not
to
gonna be able to get
learn the map
both on the
inside and out,
same.
right?
So you play the missions over and over, but fortunately, most of the Halo
It's like a
campaigns
Formula
are
One
very
driver.
repeatable and very thoroughly enjoyable to play through over and over again. That's what makes them so special. So
Yes,
anyway,
yes,
so we
yes.
go back to Halo Reach because that's Will's fave. So we
Mm.
do a few part times and stuff.
ODST for me,
Oh, ODT's great. We do a few
dude.
part
Best
times, and
Halo
I'm
game.
like, things are popping in terms of Chivos. I'm like, yeah, cool. All right, let's just carry this on. This is cool. This is cool. So we do some more past score. We start doing past scores, and like we've got certain tactics, and like, oh, this is actually working out quite well. Okay, why don't we just do Halo One on Legendary? Like, why not? Like, I haven't done it before. You haven't done it before. Let's just go for it. So we get up to like mission 7, which is the library, which is a pain in the ass. We do it. Done. Dusted. I'm like, okay, cool. Sick. What's next? What are we doing next? So like, because we're bouncing between Halos, because like Halo One, you do a couple of missions, and you're like, okay, I need a break.
Why are
So
you
like, we
bouncing
pump.
around so much? Just stick to one and finish it.
Nah, because it gets repetitive. So like, you bounce to 3, maybe do like an odd achievement here, an odd achievement there. It's all going to the greater good. One thing I will say is
Mm.
that Halo 4 is trash, and we don't want to play it anymore,
Agreed.
and it's repetitive, and I don't like it. I liked it when I first initially played it a few times. I'm really bored of it now. Not bored of the original Halos. I don't know why. It just is what it is. So we're jumping around, and I have 2 pass scores left for Halo 3. Okay, 2 pass
Yeah, Halo
scores
3 is
out of
tough.
8 or 9 levels. Okay, one of them's Cortana, one of them's Halo, which are basically the last 2 missions of the game. Everyone knows Cortana is the worst mission in the game. So you're basically going to
Yes.
rescue Cortana in the flood ship. So we do it, right, Jay? We get
Yeah.
nearly double the pass score, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is incredible. First time round, we do it, nearly double the pass score. Okay, so then I check out the achievements, and I'm like, oh, dude, they actually patched it and made the pass scores easier for all the games like 2 months after launch. I didn't know that, but they did.
That's good.
Anyway, it is good. Long story long. Will, is your achievement popped? He's like, yeah. It's yours. No.
No.
Right. Okay. And that one
Who
achievement,
was
not
hosting?
I was hosting.
Have you tried doing it with him hosting?
No.
Might want to give that a go.
Why do you think that?
Try everything.
That put me off so hard I uninstalled the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. That would make me uninstall
Am I
it too.
autistic? Possibly. But that shit
No,
just
don't. I hate it
annoyed.
when people say that. By the way,
What?
what the fuck? Are you some sort of like 13-year-old girl on TikTok?
What are you on about?
Everyone self-diagnoses with that shit.
Oh, well, that's part of the joke, right?
What, you ADHD too as well?
Yeah,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
100%. What'd you say? No. So I literally
I hate that.
uninstalled it because I just, in my brain, Jay, I just could not.
No, I'm the same. I'm trying to think what
Oh,
I've
I
done
just
that with.
couldn't. Because right,
Oh, I
because
did it
then
with
I'm
High
thinking.
on Life. That's what I did it with. That was
Oh,
my
right.
focus
Yeah,
game.
sure. Because then I'm thinking, Jay, right? I'm thinking, so
Atomic
I can get
Heart.
the pass score for Halo, which may or may not pop, but then I can't get the achievement for all Halo 3 pass scores, which is actually going to really piss me off. And then I'm going to have a half complete Halo 3, and then I'm going to finish like another Halo game, but it's not going to be as finished as Halo 3. So actually, my record's not even going to be that good. I'm not going to wrap up all the things I want to on the Master Chief Collection in terms of pass score and part time. I even thought me and Will could go for like a legendary Halo 2 playthrough. But then I'm like, but what's the point in that? Because then I'm not even sure if that's going to track. So the whole thing becomes, it loses its foundation and I lose interest and I
Yeah.
lose motivation. If I can't
I know
trust in the
exactly
achievements.
what kind of headspace you're in for that because I've been in there multiple times. But you got to look at it like this.
Here we
Master
go.
Chief Collection, is it an online only game?
No.
So do you reckon you could play that game in 10, 20, 30 years and still get that achievement for whatever reason? Would it still be around at that point, do you think?
Yeah, I should think so.
Then I don't think you've got much to worry about necessarily.
In
I think as long
terms,
as the game's still around and you're able to get it whenever you want, and if for some reason it gets fixed, then you're probably good. But unless they sort of deactivate something within the game and they no longer are fixing it or no longer are whatever it is, then it could just be a corrupted thing within the cache or the files, and then that's it. You have to sort of like redo. I don't know.
do you think it's worth
Just
me
one of
clearing
those
my
things.
cache? Do you think that will actually do anything?
You got to be careful with clearing caches because it can wipe more than you want it to.
Well, that's what I thought, Jay, because it can
Yeah,
wipe
you got to
fucking
be
like
really
progress and
careful.
save files and shit,
Yeah,
can't it?
I've made that mistake before. Have you tried Google in solutions to this?
Yes, common
What was the
thread.
consensus?
A lot of people have also had an issue with this level in particular. Common census. Sorry, common census. Is that what am I trying to say? Is that what?
Consensus.
Consensus?
Yeah.
You got to keep doing it until it pops.
Okay. How hard is it? How long does it take to redo over and over again?
20 minutes?
So it's 20 minutes per time. Is it consistent every time? Can you get double pass score? Or just
Yeah,
pass
pretty
score?
much. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So let's say you do it 3 times in an hour and it doesn't pop first, second, third, 15th time. It's a pretty decent amount of time you've wasted. And maybe it isn't going to pop ever after that. But I've had games pop years later. Like I actually think I had a Black Flag achievement pop like a year and a half, two,
Shut
maybe
the
three,
fuck
4
up.
years later. Not even joking. I played Black Flag when it first came out.
Yeah.
Achievement didn't pop.
You playing
I
on
was like,
Xbox One?
okay, yeah.
Cool.
Achievement didn't pop. I installed the game again, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
No, when did I finish all the
20. It must have been
Assassin's
2020 because
Creed?
we started through COVID, I think.
It might have even been end of 2019. Whenever it was, around that time, I played through all the Assassin's Creed to finish them, and I think I got like I'd obviously got I got past the point of getting that achievement. Like I couldn't get it again unless I started the game again, and it just popped randomly like 4 years later. I was just like, okay, they obviously fixed it or something. It was just like a really weird delay. So it can always happen. There can always be delays. I would, much again. I will come back and I will bring it back to the beginning again. Don't lose faith so quickly. You know, there's,
I
there's
do though,
always
Jay. My
there's almost
time's
always time, unless for some reason you just die. Then you don't have to worry about it. I know that's really like dark and grim, but you're probably not. So you're probably going to be fine. And just, like I think this also comes down to like an anxiety OCD type thing because I'm like that. Most of my anxiety comes from OCD of not being able to control a situation.
sure.
And I feel like you're probably similar in that you have no control over when it's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and not being able to have it like fully completed and seeing everything, all the G done and everything, like you're having that one missing piece. It's like having a puzzle and then finding out one piece is missing.
Oh
You know,
God.
it's the same shit. It's the most obnoxious shit in the world. But it's one of those things where a lot. It's similar to when you played Red Dead 2. Um, I think you were saying something about you couldn't quite finish it in a certain way or something. I can't remember what it was
Yeah, it
now.
was the last sort of percentage was a
Yeah,
nightmare, basically.
you just gotta forget about it and move on to the next thing. On to the next. Like, find the next game that you'll fall in love with. Like it's Halo, man. It's not the end of the world. Again, I think it comes down to you having like you're trying to prove to someone or yourself that you can get it done. I mean, you've proved you did it. You don't need an achievement to tell you did
That's
it.
true. I did do
Will
it.
knows you did it. I know you did it. Whoever listens to this knows you did it. It's cool. But yeah, it's really one of those things when you're in it, you don't want to like think, oh, that's it. But I mean, it kind of is just it. But there's so many games you haven't finished that you're never ever going to finish. You will die before you finish any of those games.
Sure, sure. But that's why.
It's just not
That's
going to
but
happen.
in a sense, Jay. Your message was very positive, but in a sense, that's why I did uninstall
Yeah,
it because I thought, well,
yeah. You need to just sort of let go. You need to, you know, forget
move
for a
on.
bit. Come
Yeah,
back, move on. Because if you hold on to that, it's gonna affect your work life. Honestly,
sure,
it's gonna affect your personal life, and you're probably gonna take it out on people you don't want to take it out on.
sure.
And you don't want to be doing that. Trust me, because sometimes they won't forgive you.
But like, how do
That's
you
not a good
balance
thing.
that line, Jay, between, like you say, that anxious control element, of like, let's say, doing a hard boss on Wolong, for instance. How do you manage
Sure.
like the eager challenge and you enjoying learning the moves and all that sort of thing
Mm.
to maybe a bit more of this in terms of a system not working or a repetitive task that needs doing with a less control, let's say. How do you
Yeah, I
balance
think
that?
it's so much worse when it's not in your control, right? Like I think you were talking about Wolong. Like I have control over whether or not I beat that boss and get the achievement for that boss. Because if as long as the other achievement's tracking, technically this one should be too. But when it's out of your control, that's when shit hits the fan, really.
Mm.
Um, I haven't. You know what's funny? I haven't had that issue. Oh yes, I have. Atomic Heart and High on Life, I had that issue with, but I just sort of had to like be like, yep, okay, on to the next thing. It really is simple. You have to make the decision yourself. It really is. It sounds simple, but it's not. You just got to work through it. So it sounds so weird coming from us, I guess, but it really is just one of those things. You just kind of have to grow up. Almost. I don't want to sound like pedantic or like an asshole and telling you how to live your life or whatever, but it's worked for me, so I don't know what. I mean, it's to each their own, I guess. But
No, no,
I
I
just,
hear you.
it's one of those things where like I feel like anxiety is one of those things you can almost be like, stop being anxious, and you'll stop being anxious. It's almost like a mindset, honestly, like to a degree.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost of like, oh, you're
Yeah,
anxious about
like
getting anxious, then
there's
you're actually
things that
more
I was
anxious
anxious
about.
about last year that honestly I think about now and I think, oh, that was fucking silly. But if I think about it too long, I'll be like, oh fuck, I'm anxious again, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So you just.
yeah.
I honestly, like, I'd say the biggest reason why I play games. There's two big reasons. One, they're fun as fuck, and two, it just makes me forget about my
Mm,
troubles.
mm,
So as long as you're
mm.
playing new games, you can just forget about Halo. I really can't give you much more of an answer than it, time is the healer of most, if not all. And so yeah, I'm sure you'll be playing. What's the next thing you're going to be playing? What are you playing day one next? Is it Star Wars? Are you playing Star Wars day one, or are you waiting on that
No,
one?
I can't afford that right now. So I'm gonna be playing
What are
Starfield
you?
probably day one.
So Starfield is your next thing you're looking forward to.
Yeah,
So you're telling me you're not playing a new game between now and then
in a
that you can
sense.
think of?
Well, it depends what you mean by new.
Newly released?
In what and give me a time frame.
Let's go either Game Pass or actual release. Are there any
Oh no,
Game
sorry.
Pass
As in,
games
like,
you're
do you
going to
mean
be
like in the
playing?
last year, the last month? Like, what do you mean?
No, I mean like newly.
Oh, oh. Well,
Like games that
Wolong's
are
new.
set to release.
Oh,
Not ones that have released, ones that are set to.
all right, all right. I'll give you one. If I've got the money, I genuinely might get Final Fantasy day one.
Okay, okay, that's a promising. So
Um.
you're telling me you have to find something to play between now and then.
Oh
Will it
no,
be
I've got
Starfield in
loads to
September?
play. I've got loads to
Okay,
play.
but those things that you are set to play, are they going to help you forget about Halo?
Some.
Why some and not all?
So, so there's Lost Odyssey, right? Which is a 360 RPG. Which Matty plays said that it was like an S tier RPG.
Yeah, it's good RPG.
So I had it. I owned it for some reason, so I installed it, and I've probably put in like 2 or 3 hours into it, and I really like it. It's nostalgic, even though I haven't played it before. It's got good music, the story's good, the RPG mechanics are really good. Um, but when I look at that game, I'm like, oh,
Daunting.
yeah,
Yeah, you're doing too much at once. I tell you this all the time. You need to. How many games have you got on your list of games you want to play? Like literally, name them all right now. How many games have you got in your mind of I want to play that right now, or at some point?
there are two different lists there.
Okay, give me a list of all the games you have currently either installed or let's say or like you want to install.
I'll say install that I could play right now, right this second.
Yeah,
Call of Duty 3, Halo Wars 2, Lego Star Wars, Lost Odyssey, Wolong, The Witness, and Portal 2.
7 games.
Yeah.
Do you know what my advice would be? Can you guess?
Go on.
Pick one and finish it.
Okay.
Because dude, you dilly dally.
I know,
You're
but I
just
make good progress
in
on all of
one,
them.
out, in, out, in, out, and it's just that's not how you play games, if you ask me. You're not. I genuinely don't think you've enjoyed playing a game in the last couple of months. I don't think
He
you
may be
have.
right, ladies and gentlemen. He may be. No, I will tell the truth. I enjoyed playing The Witness last night. That is the truth.
Sure, but did you?
I did. Because I got
Yeah,
halfway through
but
it and I thought, oh, I'm nearly done with this game.
did you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to be playing Call of Duty next. I'm going to be playing Halo next. I'm going to be playing this next. So maybe I can't fully put all my excitement into one game right now. I think you're spreading your excitement too thin. Do you want to know why I enjoy games? Because all my excitement goes to one game at a time.
Sure.
All of it. Every ounce is in Dead Island 2 right now. And then every ounce on Friday will be in Star Wars. And then every ounce on the 2nd of May will be in Redfall. And that'll be it. I'm
Mm.
not spreading it across because if I do that, a third of my enjoyment is going to be in Dead, a third of my enjoyment is going to be in Star Wars, and a third of my enjoyment is going to be in Redfall. I don't want a third enjoy anything. I want to fully enjoy it. And to me, you've got 10 games that I feel like you're playing at this currently, so you're only enjoying a game 10 times the amount or 10% the amount you would be had you been playing it fully.
A
You're
fair
just trying to
point.
do too much at once. You really are. It's insane. To each their own, like I say. But that just sounds crazy to me. I couldn't do that. That's just that makes me shudder thinking about it. Honestly, seriously, that gives me the creeps.
Well, one game
That just makes me feel depressed.
one game I did focus on finishing yesterday
Yeah,
was COD 2, which I did
yeah.
finish.
I saw that you playing that. Yeah, you finished it. Finished it, did you?
I finished it, finished it, finished it,
Thousand
finished
G.
it.
It's all done.
1000G, all done,
Well, fucking
uninstalled.
uninstall it. Jesus Christ, get it out of the way. Thank you. You need to
I
finish
did feel a
Wolong
lot better
next.
after I
You're
finished it,
already
I will
so
say.
far. Get Wolong out of the way, dude.
Yeah, well, that
It is
game's longer
annoying
than
that
I
I can't
thought,
help you
Jay.
currently,
I
but
I know, it's okay.
it's
That
really
game
not. It's 30 hours. It's like 35 hours
it feels longer than that,
minimum.
bro.
I know it does, but it's really not. I think it's skill level, I guess. Skill issue?
Skill up.
Skill issue? Question mark.
Um, on Call of Duty 2, Jay, just because that's the last game I wanted to discuss.
Sure.
By the way, I have heeded your advice. I just need to reflect on it.
Yeah. No.
Um, Call of Duty 2. Let's just go back to Call of Duty, okay? So Call of Duty 2, the game made by Infinity Ward, who made the original Call of Duty. And then Call of Duty 2, the big red one, was a spin-off Call of Duty 2 based on, well, it was on PS2 and the original Xbox, made by Treyarch, I think, who made Call of Duty 3. Infinity Ward made Call of Duty 1, 2, and then 4. We all know fucking 4. So this was
Probably
the
the
game they
best.
made before 4, right? So based on World War Two. Fun facts for you, Jay. The campaign is really fucking long. It's like 8 fucking hours.
That's
So
not that long.
that took longer than expected. Even now, despite me being a bit stuck on Call of Duty 3, I don't think it'll be as long as Call of Duty 2, genuinely. Call of Duty 2 is really, really long, Jay. So like basically there is something like so hold on a minute.
I'm trying to think. The longest I've spent on a Call of Duty campaign was probably 10 to 12 hours.
So there's
Probably was on veteran though.
there's 10 missions, but each mission has like 3 to 4 to 5 missions inside it.
It does, yeah. It's like stages, isn't it?
Exactly. But the stages are as long as a mission in a modern
Yeah.
day
So
Call of Duty.
it's 10 times 50. It's basically 50 instant
It's
missions,
really
essentially.
fucking long. So
Yeah.
so some bits, so hard bits for veteran, a lot of places frankly. It was a bit more common being stuck, but I would say you can still get past it. But I got stuck on probably every mission at some point, frankly. So
Okay.
yeah, it was. There were some bits that were more stressful than others, but none of it was like a Mile High Club stressful. Like I have to be
Okay.
exact. It was a bit more like you can play around with it a bit, because it's an old game. You know what I mean? So like you mess with the AI a bit, you mess with smoke grenades a bit here, you throw some frag grenades here. I'll go fucking prone and hide in this corner, and like you play the game at its own game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad I played through it again. I must have played that game back in I don't even know.
What, COD
2008?
2 or COD 3?
COD 2. COD 2.
2.
So I did play through it back in the day. And do you know what I thought, Jay? I thought to myself, holy shit, this game's awesome. Why is no one talking about this game? Obviously, they did at the time. But at that point, COD 4 was all the rage, right? So I played through COD 2, really enjoyed it back in the day. I think it holds up okay. The animations hold up well. Graphics are obviously old, but to be fair, I still think it holds up better than you might think. I think what you actually find is that COD 3 holds up worse because it's a broken piece of garbage. So I will fill you in on that once I finish it, but I'm glad I finished COD 2.
Good. I'm glad you got it out of the way as well. Hopefully that means you'll actually be able to finish some other ones.
Yes, I think you might be right.
Although at this point, I feel like you're just, again, trying to do
I've
too
heeded the
much.
advice, Jay. No need to push me into the ground.
I'm not having a go at you. I'm just, concerned. I'm a concerned parent.
I understand. I understand.
And I'd like to know that you'll get to the same place that I'm currently at right now, where I can just not worry about having to bloody like I looked at my achievement. Every time I look at my achievement list, I think to myself, man, I wish I could fill every single one of these, but I know I'm never ever going to do it. So I just gave up. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll just play the next thing.
Yeah,
I'm never
totally.
gonna. I don't need to. There's no. That's not my life goal to get every achievement in every game I've ever played.
But there is a bit in our brain that wants to do that.
Like that bit of in my brain has gotten smaller and smaller over the years.
Yeah, sure.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, I'm more about getting, finishing games, new games. Like I
Mm.
look at old games achievements now and I go, whatever. They've
Sure.
they've had their time. I'd rather get 1,000 G in this new game while it's
And
still
to be
fresh.
and to be clear, I would be more motivated to get 1000 G in a new game, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, there we
Um,
go. That's why I think that's. I'm not telling you how to feel, but I feel like you're gonna find yourself enjoying gaming a lot more. Where would you say is your like enjoyment overall with the gaming? Yeah, at the minute. Like, what percentage are you at with happiness with your gaming schedule, as it were?
yeah, I mean, not great. I feel like I've put
Yeah, could have
myself
told you
under
that.
too much pressure with finishing my back catalogue.
True.
Um,
I don't even think about my back catalog. I think
yeah,
the only game I've recently thought of where I wouldn't mind going back and playing is the Alan Wake remaster.
sure.
That's probably the only game I've actually that and like Control maybe, but even that I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Oh, dude, Control's definitely worth playing through. It's quite short. Like you would
I,
finish it in like a
I have
weekend.
almost no motivation for it as a thing.
Sure.
I only really like to play games I have motivation for. If not, I just know I'm not going to enjoy it.
Well, I do. I'll put it very bluntly, Jay. If I
Mm.
ever have a child, I'm gonna be able to play 4 games max a year.
Yeah, speak to my dad about that. He'll give you some pointers.
So there is a genuine want for me to like. I'm not trying to put myself under pressure for no reason, and like I know it's stupid and it's just a game. Like who gives a shit? I get that, but I'm just trying to play a little bit more while I can before and like just
Before what?
get
You sound like you got cancer or something.
fucking yeah before I have to give my life up for a child or 2 or 3 or God
Oh,
knows how many.
you're thinking about family. Jesus Christ.
Family.
Well,
Yeah.
that's probably the other reason why you're probably suffering right now, because I ain't got to think about that at all. I don't plan on having kids, dude. I'm
Oh, you're
lone wolf in
funny.
it. I'm a lone
But
wolf in it, 100%.
what I will say is, I do think I'm going to get to a place where there'll be 3 or 4 games that I'll just buy brand new each year, and that's it. And but that's fine, Jay, because there are genuinely only 3 to 5 games I really, really, really want to play each year, and that is the genuine truth.
Yeah, I feel like the number has increased for me. I feel like years ago it would have been 3 to 4. Now it's like 4 to 12.
Mm.
Like the number keeps increasing because the amount of games that keep coming out. I'm like, okay, they're actually ramping up now,
Can
especially
I
this
do
year.
can I do a quick sound check, Jay, on Hogwarts Legacy? Because I feel like it's gone a bit quiet.
What's funny? I'm actually seeing a lot of people play it for the first time
Oh, okay.
recently. A lot of like famous people,
Oh, weird.
weirdly.
Okay, why is that then?
A lot of celebrities are like, "Oh, this game exists. I should probably play this."
Are they all like starting their own YouTube channels or something?
No, just sort of like on their social media, they're like, "Oh, this Harry Potter game. I can finally." I think a lot of them have been like filming films or like doing TV shows or something. And a lot of them are kind of like, "Oh, I should actually like play this game." They've been wanting to, but because they've been on set, they haven't really had time. That's kind of what it feels like.
Okay.
It's funny. I feel like the whole controversy around it is still there, but not as prevalent. I think everyone's moved on to the fact that they're doing the TV show now instead, aren't they? All good.
What were we talking about?
Priorities. Priorities. I can't even remember.
All right, let's finish the show. Time to wrap up. Time to go to
So
bed.
there's some stuff I'm gonna have to bring up on the next podcast now.
That's cool. This one's run for a while and I'm tired. Thank you very much, Jay, for the reflection, for the honesty, for
Yeah,
the spiritual reality.
we do this every so often. I feel like we've covered this particular theme a lot recently. But yeah,
I like it. Thanks everyone
I,
for listening.
I think it's weird that you're in this position though. You're in this sort of weird transition, like still
Tran,
figuring it out.
what
Position.
what games?
Yeah, just figuring out how you feel about playing games and like how you, and not necessarily how you've been doing it wrong, but how you've been doing it
It's
not
changed a lot.
optimally. You're doing it suboptimally.
What I would argue, Jay, is that I used to play them as we've always done, one at a time. And I would say all this quick resume bullshit has changed that slightly. And I would also say that
Wow,
my
you're blaming quick resume?
100%, and I would also say
That's
that my
bad.
taste in game changing over the last year and a half, 2 years, in terms of the Souls like and stuff like that, um,
Sure, Call of
has
Duty.
also affected it too, frankly.
Yeah, I feel like you just like opened up to more than what you used to have wanted to play.
Yes. Yes.
Your catalog has uh, increased in size.
So here's my thought, Jay. Final thought, right? So Wolong, I'm enjoying when I play it, right? But I'm looking at it going, I don't feel the need to finish it. So I actually want to
Sure.
uninstall it, but I'm actually fighting that need because I'm thinking, Nick, you're already halfway through it. Just finish the game. It's fine. You're enjoying it.
Well, the reason why you want to uninstall it and not play it anymore is because you're thinking about other games that you want to uninstall and not play anymore.
Well, yeah, or other games I would rather play. Yeah,
Yeah, but you'd rather play that game. You'd then play that game and think, oh, I want to install this because I've got other games to play, and you're in a vicious cycle.
this is true.
I'm literally looking at you chasing your own tail. I might as well start calling you Ouroboros at this point because
Orby,
you're a snake
Orby.
eating itself. That's all you're doing.
Ugh,
You're
all
chasing your
right.
own tail. You're
Let's,
literally like, what is it, buddy? Carrot on the end of a stick.
yeah.
Just doing that. I'm literally dangling it in front of you, and you're just constantly running on a treadmill, and you're wondering why you haven't moved. I know
Yeah.
why you haven't moved because you keep chasing your tail. Vicious
All right.
cycle,
We'll see you
man.
guys next time. Bye.